All right. We are back again for another open court discussion live in the Counselor's Corner. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me as my co host, the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
Ow!
Oh boy, I might be in trouble tonight. Uh, Welcome to our segment, Romance in the Cubicle. Workplace romance, yesterday and present. With the modern workplace evolving rapidly, the lines between professional and personal relationships are blurring. But how have attitudes toward workplace romances changed over time? From the Madman era to the Me Too movement, we'll explore the shift in dynamics, policies, and cultural norms surrounding workplace relationships. Join us as we delve into the fascinating history and contemporary complexities of love in the workplace. Here are a few examples of the present workplace romance. Increased acceptance, workplace romances are now more widely accepted, and many companies have implemented policies to address them. HR involvement and policies play a more active role in managing workplace romances, and many companies have established clear policies and guidelines. Now let's look at yesterday's workday romances. Taboo, but were often seen as taboo, but they were common. Limited HR involvement. HR rarely got involved in workplace romances, and policies were non existent and vague. Another great topic to break down. Please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell a work romance to tell the other work romance to please subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. 930 subs, 20 away from the next goal, 950. We will get there. Watch us work. All right, folks, we here. Monday, January 13th. Uh, Shout out to my aunt, Susie Huggins. Happy birthday. Um, and hey, ready to talk about this topic. And the thing about it is, and I'm always going to quote the great Dr. Pappalardo, one of my first counseling instructors, and he said, we talk these subjects that keep coming back. They don't go away. They don't go away. People change and all that stuff, but these issues are still amongst us. Even if you want to go back into biblical days and stuff, these same issues are still. So we've talked about this before, but that was years ago. So now we want to take a look at it and see if there's any other different perspectives. Um, so that's pretty much that. Anything I got? Anything eye dropping I got going on? No, not really. If something comes to my mind, um I'll bring it up. Herb, what's good with you?
Man, just plotting and scheming and plotting, man. Trying to get out of town to do a few things, even if there's some snowflakes on the ground. And no, I'm not telling you. You already know what the NDA says. We don't tell. We just run out. We do. We get back underneath, beat the throw home. Nobody's none the wiser. But other than that, there's nothing else going on in the wolf's den. So it's steady as she goes.
So yeah, I know Auntie has been more visible, like with short clips and on TikTok and stuff, and she did the promo. She's been staying at the house for a little bit. She didn't want to go to the nursing home, so I said, "You have to do something." So she's 83, but she's still, kind of active and real sharp. So she's gonna come on. She told me she needed to come on early. We made her wait too long last week, so I'm gonna see if she's ready to come on. I hope she looks presentable. I hate to say it, but Let's see. Let's see. Can I get her in here? And she's to come in tonight. This is Auntie. I wanted to come in tonight. The topic is uh, romance in the cubicle. Just talking all about I guess workplace romances. And I just wanted to give a few do's and don'ts. Now, what people don't know, Auntie had a work romance before, and there's pros and cons to it. And I'm gonna let the counselor and the wolf get into all of that. But it's a few things that stuck out and resonated in my head that I wanted to speak on tonight because, there's some good and some bad. You got to be prepared for it all. And I think some people just jump in head first and they don't always know what they're doing. But Auntie Wise, I ain't been on this earth for 83 years and I'm a dummy. I've been through a lot, I've seen a lot. So let me break this down because I'm coming on here early. And he said, on that damn David said, or the controversial counselor, he said, Auntie, you can't go in there with that moo on. You got to dress up. Hence, the name of the shirt show broadcast is Workplace or Romance in the Cubicle. So throw on something. Now I totally feel uncomfortable in this shit. I ain't dressed up in so long, and I'm just ready to go to bed. I hope they let me on early tonight because last week I was just waiting and waiting and waiting, and they got me up and I came on. So let me just say this and I can't really see that well. So y'all bear with me. Some of the do's and don'ts, um, pros and cons, or however you want to look at it. Auntie took some notes too. I'm a good note taker. So my thing is this: you go to work every day with the mindset to contribute to your company and not your romance. So if you're involved in a workplace romance, the one thing you want to do, you want to go there and do your damn job. You don't go in there and be preoccupied um, with your significant other on the job, always in their office and you're always in each other's space. You go there, you work, and you act like you got some damn sense. Now, all of that fraternizing and all of that stuff at the water cooler, squeezing booty cheeks and all that, you don't do that. Your auntie said you don't do that shit right there. You don't do it. So go there to work. All right. Number two, look professional and fashionable every day on the job. Leave them fishnet stockings at home. You gonna go there and you gonna dress up like you got some sense, like me. Nice white shirt, blouse, and then a blazer. Then I got the bonnet to go, and I wouldn't wear this to work, but I'm wearing it now because I'm missing the little pieces of my hair. My hair used to be real long. It used to be down to my head. It used to be auntie. Them guys at the job used to love looking at me. Now I just throw on my little bonnet and do what I got to do. But you want to look professional. All that fishnet stocking stuff, you wear that at the club on the weekends or wherever you got to go. But you don't do that in nobody's job. Y'all hear me? Okay. I thought y'all would understand that. Um, be discreet. Do not run your damn mouth about you and Mr. Anderson did this past weekend. You ain't got to be gossiping with people. I mean, there gonna be some people that know they gonna pick up on things, but you ain't got to tell everything. You don't got to go to social media. You ain't got to do that. Be discreet. Act like you had somebody before. You go there, you work, you have, just organic, genuine conversation. But all that other stuff, just relax, be discreet. You don't got to put people in your goddamn business. Now I'm so tired of that. Tired of y'all putting people in your business. Then when it falter, You're looking crazy and stupid in the face. Stop doing that. Number four, keep your emails businesslike, short and brief and to the point. All that, hey, baby, just thinking about you and sending, you know, sexual content emails to the person. Don't do that on company time. Do you really want to work? Do you want to keep your job? Or do you want somebody to have some ammunition because you put it on paper or put it on viral that they can have evidence to fire you? You can't be that pressed to do that. Use your email for what it's for. Company emails. All that just thinking of you and all that. Shit, you might as well just walk by and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Be smart, people. Be smart. I was real smart. I was real smart. Now we ain't had schools like y'all had schools. I we had it was only a couple hundred of people in our school, but I was ranked out of 200. Auntie was ranked 60. Now you tell me I ain't a bad girl. I did my thing, as y'all say, young people say. I did my thing when I was in school. Okay. Number five, do not snoop around in the office or try to figure out who he is on a private call with his door shut. No, 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 no,
Mm.
no, no. You're getting too emotional. Some of y'all get a tad bit too emotional. He his door
Mm.
shut. He on the private call, and you are trying to walk by or listen and look at for every excuse to get in there. Then you got an attitude because the conversation, his door was shut for like 20, 25 minutes. Now, God damn it, let the man work or let her work. See, that's one of the reasons why I say you might not do that. Yeah, they talked about that last week. Emotional intelligence. You got to be able to chill. You got to be able to cope. Uh, just handling your business, controlling your environment, like all of that. Don't bring that to the job. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not gonna work out for you. Okay. Number six. Um, no plowing sessions on lunch breaks. A sure way to come back to work disheveled. Now don't be trying to sneak it in, doing it oochie coochie, la la, or whatever you want to call it, bump and grind. Don't do that at work. It's a time and place for everything. Don't do that. Y'all can wait. You can wait. I know you may think she fine as hell, fine as wine, or he may turn you on. You may think he's some sweet chocolate. But wait, unless y'all live in your damn car or something, you can wait till you get home. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. And seven, don't do happy hour or get drunk with colleagues. Remember, loose lips sink ships. Save your lips for other activities, if you know what I mean. So when you go to happy hours with people, they be digging for information. People like to ask you.
Mm.
They want you to have a couple drinks. Oh, shots on me. Drink up. And then them loose lips start talking, and you say, you know who I'm messing around with? Then the shit hit the fan. Because that person may not want everybody to know. If somebody got a game plan and y'all agreed on it, stick to it. Don't start running your mouth because that's a sure way to get cut off. In fact, that's how Auntie relationship had ended. He wanted to tell his buddies and all that, like, poking his chest out, like, yeah, I'm hitting that. And, then all it did was attract his buddies to try start saying stuff to me. And now
Mm. Mm.
I I like compliments and all that stuff. But when it's like two or three and I know y'all hang around each other, somebody running their damn mouth. And I had to cut that off. I cut that off real quick because my cutoff game is real strong now. And I can be real stubborn. I'm a motherfucker when I get mad. So I'm just saying. That's all I got to say on the subject matter. I know I've been talking and talking for 9 minutes, but I just wanted to share that to give y'all some insight. Um, Auntie about to get out this monkey suit, whatever you want to call it, and I'm about to put on my moo and I'm about to go to bed. I'm gonna watch a little television, then I'm gonna fall asleep. But other than that, y'all have a good night. Y'all be safe. Remember, Auntie loves you, and y'all listen to people. Listen to people with experience who've been around. Y'all don't know everything. You don't. So listen and learn. And another thing, you shouldn't want to fall on your face if you ain't got to. Some of y'all look like y'all came out like y'all fell into some a brick wall. So don't add insult to injury people. All right. Y'all behave now. Remember, um, do your best even when nobody's looking. Because trust and believe there's always somebody lurking. All right. I'm out of here. Y'all take care. And God bless. Good night. All
That was some
right.
gems.
Thanks,
Yes,
Auntie,
sir.
for that. Yeah. So, any feedback, Herb, you got about what Auntie said?
There was a couple of things that she said that I didn't even really consider. Number one was the public displays of affection. Absolutely don't. Keep it professional. All that walking by and winks and nods and all that stuff. Yo, she's on point with all this stuff, man. Your workplace attire, you wearing something that she might like, or changing up your cologne or your perfume, any of that stuff that brings attention. Because people have to remember, at work, we are creatures of habit. Take a lunch break at the same time, certain calls, certain things, because we have deadlines to meet, especially if you're doing clerical work or you're doing anything where timing becomes paramount. All of that stuff has to work like a well-oiled machine. So this got to be done, so that can get done, so this can get done. You got to send those reports off, so finance can get this, or this can be. All of that stuff matters in the moment. You start messing up things, you start drawing attention. People start asking. People start watching. Emails start to circulate. Next thing you know, you got somebody watching over your shoulder. All of that stuff. She's talking about snooping, and the communication is a big thing. Don't pick up the phone and start calling each other. Don't start sending uh, emails, especially from a work email address. That's a no. Just don't. Like she said, keep it professional. And I already mentioned the pattern changes. And like she said, be discreet. That was something else I had on here, and I called it the hidden quotient. So Auntie is on it. She's on it.
Yeah, and she's raw, and but she said, hey, she said her brain is still good, so she still want to drop some jewels, and I tell you, like, I'm one to always speak on things that my grandmother, grandfather said. Got other aunts that said something, so p- take heed to that. And this is more for probably the younger people that y'all don't understand it and y'all don't get it, and every when when you work in that environment, like or in the school setting, and you say something, they kind of like, that's old. No, nobody don't do that no more. Nobody don't say that no more. And you're like, yeah, y'all don't even understand, man. Y'all don't even understand. Uh, you know, just the questions that they ask, like, what was it? Somebody was like today. They're like, "Yo, Mr. Glover, when you gonna retire?" It's like, I don't know. I don't know when I'm sick and tired of being tired. Sick and tired. And maybe that's when I'll do it. And I said, or maybe I'll stick around till I'm like 80 something. Well, this was another student. Then I like, you know, got hunchbacked and act like I was about 80 some years old. Like, get the class. Y'all need to get the class. I said, never, never will I go out like that, being in that position. So it's just it's a luxury to have older people that can drop jewels that been through stuff. And if you're someone that feel like, oh, that time has passed and you don't want to hear nothing they got to say, shame on you. Shame on you because
Yeah,
you'll be missing out on a lot and you're an idiot, to say the least. So uh, that's just that. So I appreciate her feedback. I appreciate all older people who give feedback, who take the time and they share their personal experiences because their experiences become my experiences, and that's how I view it. And when you in that moment, you may say, "Dang, how should I handle it?" And something may click from somebody who told you something who means the world to you, and you're able to survive that moment. Just something to think about for y'all people to think, oh, you old, you old, you old. Like everybody don't age and get older.
yeah, absolutely. Before we get too deep in the woods, I do want to put out this disclaimer so nobody can say anything about us saying this and that. What we are talking about are just recommendations. These are not to suggest that you do anything that you don't want to. Okay. This is like all the other things we bring up. This is for discussion, for your information, so you can utilize it, talk about it how you wish to. All right. Now that we got that out the way, this, you know what? And the idea, well, number one was I saw it on Blair. Shout out to Blair, always doing the yeoman's job. I saw it there. And then for all the people in the sports world, you already know what the big to do is over at Fox Sports Radio. So I don't have to tell you. But for all those who are not initiated, there's I don't know how many people are listed on the lawsuit. That there's a 42 from what sources say, multiple sources. There's a 42-page sexual harassment lawsuit filed by I think she's either a former or current uh, hairdresser. And her name escapes me because I didn't write it down. And it includes one of the Fox Sports executives. Okay, not some rank and file cat, but the bigwig, the one who greenlights shows. Okay, so we talking major people. Then another, as they call them, on-air talent. Some of you may not know who the person is, and it's Skip Bayless. And then another person named Joy Taylor, and then another one, Emmanuel Acho. If you don't know who those people are, that is fine. We're not necessarily here for you to know who those people are, but just for people to understand that despite what people are telling you, there's some furniture being moved in the workplace. Okay. so so understand that whether it's talked about or it's clandestine, there's some furniture being moved. All right. And Auntie was telling you the God's honest truth. No HR pamphlets or all of that is going to stop humans from doing what humans do. Okay, and that's getting together. That's that. So what I did first was I went back to the 1970s and I looked at all the ways that people met and were dating. And from 1970 to about the decade of the 2010s, the number one way people met was friends. Family, uh, number two until you get to about the 1990s. And then we start to see co-workers. Now, co-workers had always been there, but it was kind of on the back end and started to move forward just ever so slightly. So they swapped places. But in 2020 was where you saw a major shift. And most of the places that people met dating dating and romances was online. And that was 60%, which I thought was telling. Number two, family, and number three, co-workers, which was at 4%. Now it went from a high of 15% all the way down to 4%. Now, when you look at the workforce in the United States of America, it's fairly significant. I don't know how many people are currently employed. I'm going to say, given the population is about 332 million, I'm going to say roughly, let's say about 33%. So 100 million people are in the workforce in various professions and duties. So we got everything from the service industry to manufacturing to clerical to, oddly enough, human resources, hospitals. Women are hypergamous in their nature. Doctors and nurses always getting the workplace romances bloom there, and a lot of people are always concerned about the power dynamic between the doctor and the nurse, because a lot of them work in close proximity to each other. You start to learn a lot about your coworkers. You start to learn about their likes, their dislikes, what turns them on, what turns them off. And depending on how good the relationship and the rapport is, you start to learn about some bedroom habits. Now, a lot of people say that's not professional. People, look, when you click with somebody, you click with somebody. Somebody got a slightly raunchy sense of humor, and you do. They tell a joke. You're not going to report that to HR. You might laugh. Like I saw one time, somebody, and it was real funny. I thought it was very apropos to this discussion. People say we don't report workplace harassment. We grade that shit. And I was like, yo, that's funny as hell. But a lot of people do. Yo, that ain't funny. I got something that's funny. And all next thing you know, you formed a clique. You formed a group of people that get along. When lunch come around, y'all might go out. When happy hour come around, y'all might go grab a couple. And this is what Auntie was talking about. You get out in the bar, you start having a couple. Next thing you know, Susie talking about Daryl, saying, hey, when it comes to renting some food, moving some furniture, Daryl know what he's doing. Daryl who? You mean the new guy? Yeah. Oh, really? People. Auntie said you got to be discreet. You got to understand how to move. What did Jay-Z say? I'll show you how to move in a room full of vultures. Industry getting shady. You gotta be discreet. But let me drop these pros on you, and then I'll give it up for David. People are always concerned about dating. And you know my philosophy on dating. When I talk about dating, I don't talk about going out getting to know people. If I find something interesting about you, maybe I want to investigate further. We already started the dating. I'm looking at what you do, how you dress, especially in the workplace, how you behave behind closed doors, all of that stuff. And you get to do this for free. It costs you absolutely nothing to sit back and observe and just watch. Collect information for your own benefit. Or somebody else might be asking you, hey, what do you think about such and such? No, he's okay. No, 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 no. What do you think about him? Or what do you think about her? You never, Auntie said it, and I believe David references too. You never know who's watching, and you don't know why they're watching. And we know women are excellent at this. Women are excellent at gathering information, passing it on to their female friends about this, and that. All right. So, observation. You're privy to things that others aren't privy to. We already talked about the things that you might find out that turns them on that nobody else might know about. Then, if they're married or in a relationship, their significant other might not know about it because they don't want to run them off. They might want to experiment. And you saying, "Ooh, where in the world did you hear that from?" Or you've never done that. We know what happens. You get in them circles, that information start flowing like alcohol at a happy hour. Another one in the same profession, especially if it's a profession where there's a lot of stress. You guys know what you endure on the job, and that makes bonding easier. Jalen Rose and Molly Quinn, they were two people that were married, I think, for like 3.5 years. And they worked at ESPN. They worked together. I don't know why the marriage fell apart, but they knew the stresses that each other was under. So it sometimes greased the tracks, if you will, and it makes understanding what a person's workday is that much easier. So you don't have to go home and talk about this bad situation, and then you have to explain some other things. That's understood because it's intrinsic. And one that a lot of people don't think about, and it happens. A couple gets together and they want to build a business in that profession that they're in. So let's say you have a doctor and a nurse. This doctor wants to open his own practice. You have a nurse who you know can do the job. She's good at what she does. You're good at what you do. You start building a practice, and this would go for a law firm too. An attorney wants to branch out. You have the expertise and knowledge right there at your fingertips. So those are just some of the pros that I came up with.
All right, all right. It's good information. Good information from the Big Bad Wolf and Auntie. And I can tell you, I could drop some things about work romance, but I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm not gonna do it, even though I was 20 years removed from the place. Just not gonna do it. If y'all want to find out, y'all just have to holler at me, or maybe you'll tune in because I also said this that that in 2025, I'm getting older. Might just start dropping bombshells on folks. Mm, what's gonna happen at this point? What is gonna happen at this point? And and it seems that's what y'all gravitate towards. Y'all want bombshells. Do y'all really want bombshells or not?
Well,
So, but that's another subject for another day. But when you look at the pros and cons, and I think Auntie, when she did the promo, she talked about you see the person every day, and Herb kind of touched on it, and you get to know them on an intimate day to day level. I mean, most people spend most of their time at work, a great deal of time, at least constructive time when you're not sleeping. So you start forming relationships, you start having conversations, and it's not, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's organic. It's
mhm,
not like you're like, oh, I'm here to try to get this person, or I'm trying to woo this person. Sometimes it's just like little simple things that a conversation strikes up, and then it leads to other conversations, and then you know people walk away like, man, I enjoyed that conversation, I enjoyed that feedback I got from that person.
mhm,
And the next time, you may say, oh, I can't wait to when we work together again. It depends, like sometimes you have small departments that you're going to see people every day, but sometimes you work for some places that you may not work, like say for example at a hospital, somebody could be floating or whatever on this floor this day. You may not see them for a couple of days. So that's the interesting thing about all of this. Like, it's not always close encounters. It depends on where you work, that you may not see certain individuals. You like, I didn't see this person in a week or two, and then when you see each other, y'all like, man, I remember the last time I worked with this person. Like, I had a good shift. That was a great time. It was a great conversation. So just think about that theme, and then again, the person has firsthand knowledge of the daily pressures you go through and has a way of making it better. So sometimes people don't understand what you do and the struggles you go through. And sometimes people just simply your partner or something. You may have a partner that's not affiliated with that. They simply just don't care to hear it.
Mhm.
So they're locked in on their own thing. And you like, damn, I just went through this, I went through that. And it's interesting because some people think they know about everything, about every job, every
Yeah.
situation. But I'm saying this to be saying that some things just build up. So I think when people think about work romance at the workplace, they think like it's just something that just two people like a magnet just start attracting and it just go in. It's things that build up
Mhm.
to it. It's conversations that build up to it. It's projects that build up, working with people that lead to it. And meanwhile, at home, it's just home. Y'all ain't working to it. Y'all ain't working. Y'all don't have no goals. Y'all have nothing y'all working on together. And you got your life, they got their life. Y'all just existing. But meanwhile, you go back to work and you're like, God damn, here she go again, smelling good, looking good. And all of a sudden got your mind changing. I know. Y'all probably think, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? C2, are you trying to promote this or whatever the case? No, I'm just trying to tell you how things exist because some people are like, oh, I never heard. Oh, that's off limits, this and that. Y'all always talk about something off limits. Y'all always talk about, um, I don't mess with nobody who my crew, my girls. Y'all always say all of that.
Yeah.
And some of it be lies.
Yes,
So
sir.
I gotta
Yes,
put it
they are.
out
But
there.
I ain't mad at you. I understand.
So, anyways, cons, Auntie spoke on that. If shit turns sour, what you gonna do? Because this everything is good. See, the one thing we do realize that people can't handle adversity. They can't handle it. People, and that deals with emotional intelligence and they coping stuff. They can't handle it. How do you handle somebody that y'all been gallivanting, going to lunch together when it's hot? Y'all take y'all take walks together, and everything is good, and y'all doing well on the job. Nobody can say nothing.
Hmm.
Y'all producing, but suddenly something goes wrong, and then it's dissension in between y'all. How do you handle that? And you got to see this person every day. Are you that person that say, excuse my language, two tears in a bucket, fuck it, go move on? Or are
Yeah.
you like, damn, I don't feel like doing nothing? Or every time she say something, I'm gonna get smart. I'm gonna have like a snarky remark, or now I'm gonna start throwing shade her way and all that. That's one of the cons to it. So you got to know who you are as far as that. The room, the rumor mill
Yes.
would get started, and everyone would be all up in your business. People gonna be talking. They're gonna be saying things. How do you handle it? How do you handle? Like, come on now, Herb. I know you going over there. I see how y'all two be working, whatever. You ain't fucking.
Woo!
How do you handle that? Like, come on. And then they may throw something and say, "Shit, I'm trying." Like I'm trying to get with her, and then you like, "Shit, you really with her? You got some feelings, but you trying to bottle them up inside." But somebody like, "Man, she finer than a mother." Like, I don't know. How you like, damn, and she stay up in your face, and you ain't hitting that shit. Then you like, yo, like yo,
Woo!
I like her. Like I like her. I'm into her, and you keep on talking. Like, man, you see what she had on the other day and all. How do you handle that, people? That's just what I want to know. And I'm gonna leave it. I'm
Uh,
gonna pass the baton.
all right, let me do this before I answer Dave's question. Like Dave said, and I'm gonna reinforce this. KYP. You have to know who you dealing with above anything else. Not only do you need to know them, you need to know what their intentions are. All right. Do they have a long term plan? In other words, they looking to settle down, looking to potentially have kids, get married, all of the other stuff. Or are they a serial monogamous? In other words, are they getting out of a relationship? So, and this could go for male or female. This is not gender specific. Are they looking to just be in a relationship because they don't like being alone? And two, are they just looking to help? Are they just looking for some help to move some furniture? They just dropped the gym about that. I've been in that situation. Okay, and I'm going to tell you like this: the female in question, pretty good looking chick. She had some surgery done, so she augmented some things, and they was on and popping. And my man said, "Yo, aren't y'all working out together?" I said, "Yeah, we go over to without getting too specific because I one individual's on the friends list, so and you and I both know this individual, so I'll leave it right there. But the individual, just like you said, they man, dude, I'll be playing crops in that. and, and, and I had to say, man, shit, I understand. Yeah. She got them lumps. She got them Humpty Dumps. So you got to be cool. You got to be cool because a lot of cats want to get out there, and the first thing they want to do when they plant their flag in a mountaintop, they want to start bragging. They want to start talking to their boys. They want to start talking to their people. And what do they say in the Navy? Loose lips sink ships. You got to keep them hatches battened down, everything else buttoned up. But a lot of people can't do that. Aren't you talking about being discreet? I'm going to tell you, NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, learn to keep your mouth shut. I don't care who you are, what departments you work in. Because like Dave said, you can work in some businesses where you don't see each other that often. So you might encounter somebody working in this particular department, or y'all might have a day where you cross train and you get along that well to the point you say, hey, you know what? Let me kick the tires on this. There might be something there. And next thing you got a little budding workplace romance. Now all of a sudden, you set the rules of engagement. Have you say, hey, look, we're not going to change our patterns. I never went out after happy hour. I'm going to continue not going out after happy hour. So don't ask me. The answer is going to be no. And that has the potential to upset the other person. And if that other person is juvenile in their mindsets, they're going to start poking at you, picking fights. Next thing you know, it boils over at work. You stop there, and like Dave said, the door might be closed. They might be having a conversation. All of a sudden, your mind running because you know how you pick this individual up. You saying, "Oh, they creeping, and they creeping on me." Y'all not in any type of full blown, committed monogamous relationship. So if that's the case, man, let that bird be a bird. Let him be a trick. If that's what y'all met under the circumstances and the guys, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Just like the song. But don't start turning a moving a furniture moving expedition into a relationship when the terms are agreed that, hey, look, we just dipping and dabbing. When we see each other, we see each other. If we don't, we don't. Y'all know how I like to reference movies. Up in the air. The airline industry, pilots and stewardess, they have layovers. Sometimes they have layovers and they get laid up. We saw this in the movie with Flight. What do you think was going on with Denzel and the stewardess? It happens. So people, Don't bury your head in the sand talking about, oh, nah, with Me Too and workplace lawsuits and this. Ain't nobody doing that. People doing it. You just ain't doing it. And that's okay. Nobody's saying you have to. We're just saying if you want to, there's ways to do it. But you have to know what the rules of engagement are. And if you don't know what the rules of engagement are and you're trying to play the game, you're going to catch an L.
Yeah, and and it's crazy. Like I said, I I got personal knowledge on, on this stuff. So it's 2025.
Woo! Yeah, boy.
This the year I'm gonna be a double nickel. So things is like I can tell you like situations where I was like, damn. Um, Sometimes you work with somebody and they may make you move different.
Mhm.
You may be a you may be a certain individual. You may be locked in on what you do, but then, damn, we're human. There's attractions at the workplace. Like, how could y'all say there's not? Whoever say, nah, you don't look at somebody, you could, you could see. Prime example, and this was something small, and it was, but if I wanted to take it that route, I could have took it. I went to the post office and I was returning something, but you know how you put the label on in the package. I had kind of fucked up the package, but I tried to tape it over, and I'm like, and I was worried about like something small like that. I just be worried about like I just want to send it back and get it back, get a little refund and all that. So I get in the post office, and I'm like, I hope I get this lady. It don't seem like she's gonna be a hard time. But then it was this other lady, and I was like, I hope I don't have to go to her. But who did I get? The one I didn't want to go to. So I go up to her and she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" She's like, "You doing it?" Like, she's like, "That jacket, that hat, like, look at you." She said, "When you walked in," so she already spotted me out, and even though she's on her job, she looked at the coat, and I just had on the skull cap that matched with the coat, and she was like, I was like, "Look at him, he I'm trying to think of the word. She said, uh, damn, drawing a blank, whatever. Any of the little catchphrases, whatever. Fly. She didn't say that, but sporty, something to that effect. She has said that. And after that, everything went good. And then I was like, "Yo, I'm sorry about this package. I don't even." She's like, "I got you. I got you." That was just based on uh observation and the attraction of what I had on, and she's like, hmm. So sometimes like that filters down when you're at a job. You like, and you move different. So I think when I was leading up into that point, I was saying years ago at a job, they knew like, oh, he not gonna do this, he not gonna do that, and then I ended up, um, and that person, she kind of like, I think I could make a move different. Well, I guess she did
Hmm.
make a move different that time because I showed up to a happy hour, which I never did. I was like, I ain't messing with these people. And it's like, oh, and sometimes people have their own internal goals. Like, I think I can make him do this. Or you say, I think I can make her do that. And at the time, I end up going to the happy hour based on her influence. And, and things like that, simple things like that, how things get started. So I guess I'm saying all this to be saying like it's real. So some people are, oh, I don't I don't eat where I shit. They say all of this stuff, whatever. But you also have to understand that it's real. That when you spend time with people, and depends on the level of conversation, things things happen. The doc, what he said, I heard that people used to meet at jobs more so than they do now. It's definitely something to be careful with. What's up, Big Shank? What up, Pam? I said that. So it's a lot. It's a it's a lot. And we know it, and we know it happened. And I guess the thing with when they say with the mean, what's it, the mean man or the what is it, the era with the madman era compared
Oh,
to the Me Too movement. Some of it you still see that going on where the madman era, like you know who the boss is, he running shit, and some people play on that, and they may know you need that job, and they take advantage of that. But sometimes things just happen organically, so you just got to be aware of situations. But we know that it's definitely happening. Work romance is just like anything else. Church romance. We could have a thing about
hmm,
church romances.
yep.
Uh, Anything you want, we could talk about it. It all kind of ties in together. I felt like I don't like to talk too long, so I'll pass it on.
And you know what the funny thing about this particular topic is, given the movement of mergers and acquisitions, businesses being sold, we don't necessarily know um, who can be a co-worker one day and not a co-worker the next day. And look at it like this: let's say you go on a company retreat. The company you work for has businesses in 3 or 4 other states. There's a company retreat, all these people coming in from these various locations, and you see somebody, you say, "Ooh." You ask somebody, "Oh, where's that person from? What department do they work in?" You say, "Shoot, y'all there 4 days, getting paid, food, drinks. It's kind of work related because y'all, they call it skills building, I believe it is. You and this individual, y'all find a place, ain't nobody gonna know. Y'all get it in. It was good. Move the nightstand here, put the dresser with the mirror on the back there. Say, all right, y'all go back home. Nobody's none the wiser. You get a call. HR wants to talk to you. Go into the office now. Nobody knows. I ain't told nobody. HR says, hey, look, we're looking to acquire this company. And if we do, that potentially is going to put you in a position to where you will become overseer of these departments because we're merging. We're gonna bring them together. What do you think about that? And you say, oh, I'm ecstatic. I've dreamt of this position my entire life. Um, what company is it gonna be? This company. You say, all right, well, who's heading that department now? And they give you the name of the individual. It's the individual that you got down with. Somebody's gonna have to lose a job because your two departments are gonna become one, so you can take over a position in this department. Now, we all know how vindictive people can be. So somebody's gonna lose their job. Don't know who it's gonna be, but somebody's gonna be set up for a huge disappointment. So things happen, people get involved. We, like I said, the reasons why vary. So, you know, just be mindful that, things that are seemingly innocent at one particular point can turn out and be detrimental in the long run. So, and I know nobody really can see into the future and say, I knew that was gonna happen, or I didn't think that this could happen. Nobody knows. And then another thing, let's say your company uh, holds um, employee appreciation parties. You go to a picnic, you see this nice little woman over there. She wearing a sundress, and all of a sudden you say, "Ooh," you say, "Hmm, I wonder what she got up underneath that sun." I might have to make my way over there and find out. No, you don't know who she is because you hadn't seen her face. All of a sudden, you get over, you say, "Oh, wait a minute, you work in this department?" She said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "Oh, no, 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 didn't know who you were. I wanted, because you're caught now. You start stammering over your words and you flummox. You say, "Oh, shoot." And the same thing happens with a woman. You see that man over there, he all flexed out in the wife beater, or you might have on that what do you say, Dave? That seersucker shirt, cut
Yeah.
the form, showing off them delts and tries. You say, "Ooh, who's the new guy?" And somebody say, "Oh, that's not the new guy. That's the guy that works in accounting." But you've always seen him in suits. Never seen him in anything quite as flattering. So you say, "Hey, go put in a word for me. You know him." Somebody comes over there and say, "Hey, such and such want to holler at you." Balls in your court. You single, you making some good coin. You say, you put out some feelers. You say, "Well, what's she like?" "Well, she just got divorced about 3 years ago. She got a 5 year old." You say, "Wait a minute. She got a 5 year old. She was divorced 3 years ago. How long was she married?" "Well, she was married 3 years." "So who's the father of the child?" "Oh, some other dude that she used to mess with." And oh, you saying in your mind, you say, "Oh, you know what? This might be one of those ones I could, sneak in when the sun down and move some furniture and send her on her way." We don't know. Mergers and acquisitions, there's a cost for everything. As long as you know the rules of engagement, you can play the game. And you know what? You can play to win, you can play to push, or you can play to lose. That is all up to you to choose how you want to move. But just be mindful. Whatever you do, be intentional about it. And the reason why I say be intentional is because when you move with an intent, you have a clearly defined agenda. So if you just want to move some furniture, let that individual know. We often bring up Alan Roger Curry's book, Mode One. Hey, if that's all you want, let her know. She might be amenable to that, and that might be what she's looking for. But don't start setting yourself up for failure. Don't tell her, yeah, I'm looking to settle down at least right now. I want to start having some kids because you might awaken something in that individual, whether it's male or female. And and if she's a female and she wants to have one more child, she's like, okay, he's got a solid job. If I get pregnant, I can miss some time at work because he can hold down the house. And we know how women's minds run. We know that they take a situation, and the next thing you know, you married to her with 3 kids. He only been on 4 dates.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing works with men. He might have got wind about your exploits. Don't ask me how. Social media's a social media's a mean thing, and a lot of people, They got some people who know some people who know some people. Next thing you know, they say, "Hey, I heard you real good with your brass shining. I want to find out."
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. Let me see how I can rebound from that one. So again, that's why it's pros to cons to each situation, and I've seen where relationship happens at the workplace, and people ended up getting married, and although they might not work at that spot anymore, but
Yeah.
they met that person at work. So I don't know which should be off limit as far as that. Again, there's some of you who say, "Oh, you want to meet the right person at church." And I forgot it was something that I read or a video, and they were saying people who join the church is kind of people who I wish I wrote it down and had the proper alliance to this whole thing. But I think they was pretty much saying people who joined like that, they probably was in a desperate situation,
Mm.
and and I know some people would give pushback and say that's not true. And I know that is not 100% true because some people just was born into it. That's what they were used to doing. But then you have some people that you know, and they're on social media talking about this or that, or they're fake like they're moving like this. Then it's probably a gimmick for those individuals who you just kind of know. You study, you see their posts, then all of a sudden it's this shit written by a doctrine or something. And this person ain't never really been into school like that. So things like that, you kind of pick up and say, man, like, nah, this ain't right. This isn't right. You got to pay attention.
Hmm.
You got to pay attention to what's put out there. And sometimes people just, i- if you struggle with that, then you're gonna always be faced with like different battles. But understand that, like, you don't want to in conversations like this, you don't want to nip it down to an absolute and say absolutely you should never deal with nobody that you work with, because then you can say that in any other situation, like I meant, like the church or whatever the case is. So how are you supposed to meet people?
Hmm.
Not the grocery store thing, not the night, not the club where it's loud music and you can't even barely hear each other talk. Where do you meet people at when you running that running a mile in the park? Which, and I always think about people our age. Yeah, this ain't really doing shit. You're crawling a mile. where, where are you supposed to meet these people at? Doc
Yeah,
said,
online dating is huge, Doc. It's right now, and I was just talking about this earlier. That's where 60% of people meet. And I'm not necessarily a proponent. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Dave.
no, no, I'm good.
I'm not necessarily okay. I'm not necessarily a proponent of using Trader Joe's. I'm not necessarily a proponent of using dating apps to date. Now, what I will say about dating apps is this: if you know what you want potentially, dating apps can be a way to eliminate people from any type of interaction with them in that realm. And a lot of people will say, well, why would I want to eliminate people? Because it makes the decision easier. See, a lot of people they want to include as much as they can because they think it um makes for optimization of the dating of your dating pool or whatever you want to call it. I, on the other hand, I'm the opposite. Conceivably speaking, you're only really going to date one person at a time. And I know people, they'll entertain spending plates and sleeping with multiple women or multiple men. If that's what you want, by all means, knock yourself out. I'm not going to tell you what to do, who to do it with, or how to do it. I'm just going to simply say this: the more ingredients that you add to anything, the greater the chance, especially when you talk about humans, the greater the chance that something's going to go wrong. Because we don't know what an individual is going to do in a certain situation until they're in that situation. And I know people will say, well, no, I'll never do that. I can't do this. And bullshit. Because if you get the right individual, and Dave talked about this, the right person, if you get the right individual, the right circumstances, it can go south real quick. And we hear about these people that get involved in these love triangles, and the only thing about it is the one individual didn't know. So you walk in, you come home, you know, that individual had the key to your place, whether it may, and I'm gonna keep this gender neutral. I'm not here to blame any gender. So this individual has a key to your spot. They thought you were out of town. You walk in there. Next thing you know, you hear them sounds. It ain't you. So you're saying, who the heck is up in my spot doing the thing? Next thing you know, this person having some enjoyment. Your spot with your person. Now, y'all two done fell out. Y'all get into the workplace and y'all throwing eye daggers at each other. Somebody notices and says, yo, what's going on? You say nothing. Oh no, come on, dog. Come on. I know what that look is like. Come on, man. Spill them beans. Tell me what happened. Or the woman say, what did he do to you? He ain't did nothing. People pick up on the hostility. They already know you generally a fun-loving person. They know you don't respond like that. You're not that sharp. You're usually soft-spoken. Somebody done stoked the fire. They don't lit that match. And the keg is kind of getting ready to go off. These things happen. People talk about they don't. They do. They do. So like I said, David always said, and I'm going to reiterate, know who you're dealing with, know the rules of engagement. And if, and I stress, if you get involved with somebody, y'all cover those bases. Cover the potential risk of pregnancy, especially if there's sex involved. And I know people say, oh, when I ain't worry about it. If you ain't gonna worry about it, I'm gonna worry about it for you. Because the last thing you want is a child to come about where y'all was just trying to move some furniture. That makes for a very messy home.
Yeah. When I think about that, the simple fact for that is when you have all that, yeah, it definitely creates a messy home. I'm trying to, I lost my train of thought. Bring your point by what you said, Herb.
No, the love triangle, when you get people, you get one person that's operating outside of the agreed bounds. And and because people are people, you're gonna get that. So when you just make sure that there are no loose ends. But like I said, if a pregnancy comes of it, That's a loose end that you can't. I want to be delicate when I say this. That's a loose end that you can't tie up like that. That's a loose end that's gonna have to be dealt with. Courts get involved. Somebody might lose their job, or somebody might have to be reassigned. It can get ugly if people aren't doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, there's two people involved in a relationship, whether it's like I said, whether y'all just moving furniture, whether you're in a short-term agreement or a long-term agreement. It only takes one person to step out and that Jenga game. All of a sudden, all them blocks are all over the place. And you're saying, you're saying, I'm not trying to put that back in a box. No pun intended. Them blocks ain't going back in that box. Not like
Somebody
they
got to
came
do it.
out. Yeah. So, there's, and that's one of the cons. You know, when I will say this, I've had more workplace involvement that has ended benignly. And a few of those people are still on my friends list. I know them well. Matter of fact, I just contacted one person today. She's engaged. Nobody knows about her and I. So when the wolf talks to you about this stuff, the wolf is talking firsthand. But her and I understood what was going on. And when she moved in a different direction, she told me. I was like, cool. I understand. I know what my job assignment was. I came, got the job done. You found something else, you moved on. But a lot of people, especially if they're being fed, burped, and put to bed, they might be like, I never had it this good. Now all of a sudden the plot and the scheme will come up. How can I keep this? How can I keep this individual here? Keep him in or her in this zone while I go out here and try and get something else. How can I keep this person, that I like to move furniture with, but I got a child and this individual doesn't want to deal with that, and I need to find somebody else because I'm starting to get up in age. I'm in my mid-30s now. I need to find some financial security. Or could be the opposite. I don't have any kids and I'm financially secure. I don't want anything that's going to take away from that financial security. And the child is going to do just that. Whether it's the female who's making more money or it's the male making more money. Somebody's going to have to pony up because marriage was never on the table. Marriage was never on the docket. Y'all never discussed it because you knew what it was going to be about. And all of a sudden, there's got to be a move made.
Mm-mm-mm. A lot of knowledge drop.
Because matter of fact, damn. Let me tell the story in this particular manner. This is going back. I was 24, 53. So we talking damn near 30 years. God damn. Female. Found her attractive. I'm not gonna say where we were working at. You know, we got down. We went out in Buffalo that night. Came home to her spot. She went up, and she didn't put on anything really suggestive, but she put on something that was loose enough for me to get my hands inside. And she understood what she was doing. I didn't quite catch on until I caught on. Now we moved some furniture. Next thing you know, she talking about she late. You late? Yeah. She said, you remember last week? I said, yeah. I said, oh, hell no. And this is at work. This is at work where the discussion went down. I said, "Oh hell no, 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 no. I ain't going out like that." I said, "My name might be Herb, but I ain't that Herb." So people, it happens. It happens. It happens. So make sure you dot those T's and you cross those I's. And yes, I said dot those T's and cross those I's. You know why? Because you want to make sure that you cover every conceivable base or potential problem, even the ones you have not even thought of happening. She might tell you she's sterile. You know, she had her tubes tied 10 years ago. You say, "Oh hell, I can go to the range and I can just start firing. Pew, 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 pew. I ain't gonna worry about hitting nothing." Next thing you know, boy, you either hit a target. She come back and tell you, "I ain't been with nobody else." You frown up. You say, "Wait a minute. You said you had your tubes tied." I did. It happens. That's another. That's a she's on birth control. So I'm just telling you,
Mm.
cross them I's, dot those T's, make sure that you talk about these things. Make sure that you discuss what a contingency plan might be. Especially
Okay.
now with the advent of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, y'all might be in a state where she just can't go get, address that problem in that particular manner.
Mm.
Her religion might say, she can't do it. His religion might say he can't allow you to do it. You got a person that wants to go one way, you got another person that wants to go another way, and next thing you know, y'all playing a tug of war, and people at the job, they picking up on the anxiety. They're saying, you ain't been acting right the last 2 or 3 weeks. You say, "Oh man, I got a situation I got to deal with." Don't talk to me. "No, I can't." Go get some therapy. Therapy ain't gonna fix this. So that person start thinking, "Well, damn, what problem could a person have that therapy won't fix?" They showing up to work on time. They don't exhibit, or they don't display exhibit. They don't display any outward signs of drug use, abuse, or alcohol. Their behavior really hasn't changed. It just seems like they're preoccupied. And they start putting things together. And next thing you know, that jigsaw puzzle with 1,000 pieces
Mm.
get put together. And they say, "Oh, you used to mess with such and such. I ain't seen y'all talking lately. What's going on?" She pregnant.
Mm.
I'm pregnant.
Just dropping them.
You say, "Oh, what? Yo, I didn't know you was." Yeah, man. We kept it on the low. How long y'all been dealing with each other? "Oh, about 6 months." You say, "Oh, Shaughnessy, you need to get in on this one."
See that shine dog was good. Happy New Year.
We talk about workplace romances, doctors and nurses. You need to drop some gems on this one. Them empty rooms with the beds in. But man, I mean, all kinds of things happen, man. You hear about these triangles. I mentioned before, workplace triangles, where one party is completely oblivious, especially if the individual is married. You know, they are the last people that most people would suspect. You gonna get into it, Dave? She's
Oh,
just in the link. Those are the last people that most people suspect of being unfaithful. So a lot of people are blindsided by it. And then all of a sudden now, one individual is left having to make a decision because they feel betrayed. And that's understandable. I mean, the worst thing in the world is for an individual to feel betrayed. and the intent doesn't matter, and that's what a lot of people have to understand. They say, well, I didn't intend to get pregnant, or I didn't intend to bring home a disease, or we're humans. We do a lot of things haphazardly. We do a lot of things in the heat of the moment, and you got a lifetime of regret, especially if it's something that really can't be addressed, so the damage is minimized. And when we talk about unintended consequences, pregnancy is definitely one of those things, and that's one of the things a lot of people don't consider. So that's a that is definitely a downside. Just be careful. Know what you're getting into. No pun intended. Jeez. and and know what can be the potential outcomes. Because I will say this: I've been fortunate that I have not produced any kids with coworkers. Um, I've had probably, personally speaking, somewhere between 3 and 7 engagements with coworkers. So, you know, move wisely. Like I said earlier, like Jay-Z said, I'll show you how to move in a room full of vultures. Don't let the industry take over. Don't let it take over. Did you get it to her?
Uh, yeah, I sent it to her.
Okay.
You can try to
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough too, especially when you know you're spending, if you work a lot of hours, not necessarily long hours per se, but if you work in, I think about, once you start working about 55 hours or more, and you're single, you don't have anyone at home, winters can become very isolating. And if and if you're just looking for somebody to keep you company at night, that's what they're talking about. Cuffing season. They've always talked about cuffing season. We're right there now. We're probably in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, definitely. At the point that people ready to put a pause on it. Once, well, we passed that. We passed that point. So we're at
Mhm.
the sniper point where people came back around because it's about to be income tax season.
Yep.
See, these are things that we talked about years and years and years ago. Uh, and I think I mentioned last week, I drew out a whole calendar how behaviors happen sometimes around that. So now it's January. Shit. Uh, some people like, oh, she getting this back. I need to put my car on the road, or whatever the case is. Um, and they're gonna be around, and you have to understand. And I know people are like, well, how does it connect with work? Well, a lot of times it may connect because they may see, based on conversation at work and things that somebody say, and they say, let me slide up in here because I think she'll do this. Or a woman may
Hmm.
say, oh, it seems like he don't have nobody else. He gonna pay something. And
Oh yeah.
it's just based on observation. Shine a
What
seed.
up, y'all?
Hey, hey,
Hey.
hey.
We ain't seen you in about 10 years.
I know, right? A
Mhm.
month of Sundays.
I know what's good. How you doing?
I am good. I am good. I'm here to be a hypocrite.
Okay, go ahead. We like that.
So workplace relationships, no, don't do it. However, as a person that's always at work and that has always been at work and is currently engaged to my old coworker, I'm here to be a hypocrite.
Hold on. Hold on. So we got to catch up because we know how it was. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot been going on when you used to
This is
come in
a
here and
safe
drop.
space. We could talk. This is a
Yeah.
safe space. So
Yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely.
so
No heat,
yeah,
no judgment.
so
I'm back in
okay.
Maryland now.
You back in there. See, I didn't know that.
I'm back in Maryland now. And I at once upon a time I used to work at a naval shipyard and as an EMT. And often, so basically, the shipyard that I worked at, we were contracted with the Navy to, anytime their boats were docked to get repaired, we were contracted with the Navy to go on and deal with any emergencies. And that was for the shipyard workers and for the Navy. A lot of the
Okay.
times, although the Navy staff wouldn't be on the boats, so we were at all times. So and especially because they were on our shipyard liabilities and stuff like that, whether the Navy responded, we still had to respond. If they had to get cranked off a boat, yes, I cranked people off of boats before. And with that, there were armed security as well. Both the Navy alongside the shipyards contracted armed security. And every time we responded, it was up to security to stop all traffic, all production, everything stops because you need to be able to hear all of that. So it's a whole coordinated effort. And because of that, medical and armed security always works close together. Security protects us. A lot of times they guide us to where we have to go. A lot of the times there's ladders and stuff, small spaces. Of course, you have to take a physical fit test to be get the job. But 90% of us, just like police officers, you go through that academy, you do that training, but 3 months later, you can't get up that ladder, going 4 stories up a ladder. So a lot of the
Oh,
times, it's security that's helping you up and through those spaces. Making sure your mask is on when you're going into those spaces to do recoveries, et cetera, et cetera. Boom. So of course,
Oh.
I ended up working close with security, and I ended up dating one of the armed security guards there, and that was 4 years ago around the pandemic, and as of New Year's Eve, January 1st, we are now engaged.
so hold
And
on. So is this the guy when you was in Virginia that you were dating?
yeah, yep, yep,
Okay.
yep, yep, yes, yes.
Well, congratulations.
The you know how I spin the block a few times and stuff.
Yeah, because you had a homeboy that you said you would spend the block with, but then you would block this person
Yay.
and block that
Yep,
person. Your
And
yep.
block game
you
was
know what the funny
strong.
thing,
Hey,
and you know what the
may
funny
the
thing
best
about that
man,
is?
huh?
Go ahead, Shaughnessy. Go ahead,
I was
Shaughnessy.
saying, I may the best man win. That's
Mm.
always the.
I ain't mad at you because I talked about burning bridges, and I
Yeah, no,
talked
and I
about
don't
the need to
honestly
not
speaking
do it.
though. Yeah, and honestly speaking, I don't think I've burnt any bridges. Of course, some feelings are hurt, but I think that the cachet you build with people, the rapport that you have with people, I'm still friends with everybody. We cool. I don't have any enemies. Now I got some surprise faces and stuff like that, but I don't have any enemies. None. None at all. Cause I always put it out there. I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and may the best man win.
We
That's
talking about
just it.
moving furniture.
We here for the we here for the ride. We here for the ride. It's like no, but it can be tricky. It really can be tricky. So I um I would always definitely bet against it because once people start realizing and get to noticing stuff,
Mhm.
yeah, that's when you get the side eyes, and it's like, dang, like especially like with his closer coworkers, and it was like, y'all used to always speak to me. We used to always be cool. Y'all used to be like, oh, you smell so good. I like your hair. Da da da. Oh, it's here. Look, look. And then now y'all noticing this guy that y'all don't even deal with. Now y'all giving me side eyes. Nobody say good morning. Like, what's up, sis? Like, why we beefing? So
Cultures.
yeah, um, that happens, and it just creates a lot of tension, unnecessary tension in the workplace.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
on the flip side of that, I would also say, don't deal with nobody that got less to lose than you. When you go in, you want to you got to make sure somebody got something to lose as well. So the games you playing, you got to know that that person that you locked in with or you think you locked in with has something to lose too. So they not just making a mockery out of you or doing what they need to do. Because again, at one point, I was just like, yeah, these girls ain't just acting like this for nothing.
Mhm, mhm.
But it happens. But when you talk about them doctors and them nurses, it goes down. It goes down. But I mean, a lot of times, and I'm not saying it's crazy because they're not always bad stories. It's not always
No,
negative, but you do
right.
get those. It is a lot of extra created tension. In the workplace. Like I was working in the ER one night, one New Year's Eve actually, and one of the trauma surgeon's wife, he was so embarrassed, she was so embarrassed. He ended up coming, but he came to the hospital because she had fell and hurt herself. They were out partying, whatever. She had fell, hit herself, needed about 3 stitches. So boom, brought it in, and there were nurses that were pissed because I mean this trauma surgeon, he was fine. He was like black and Indian, bald. Oh my god, he was like drop dead gorgeous. But he's married. Like, why are y'all mad at his wife? Like, that's crazy. Like, and he did not deal with. He did not deal. Well, to my knowledge, I would say to my knowledge, he didn't deal with any of these nurses, and especially the nurses that were clicked up together and that were friends. They were just like, "Ew, I don't want to be on that case." And it's like, girl, why? Why? You know his wife doesn't even work. Okay, her husband is a trauma surgeon. She doesn't have to. Like, why are y'all mad at this lady? It just work and the cattiness that comes along with it is just so oh, it gets tricky. So I feel like if one of the people are not willing to move around or kind of I guess remove themselves from that cattiness, whether it's a different department, different shift,
Yeah.
et cetera, then it can get tricky. It can get real tricky. And the work
People,
husbands, I don't play that work husband, work wife stuff. That's out of the nope, not doing that. That's not
yeah, I
cool.
don't think I can ever say I've done it. But people, we trying to tell y'all, because and the thing that having a female on the panel, particularly with this type of topic, is not only does it give a different perspective, it lends more validity to what we're saying. Because a lot of people think, so you guys are just looking at mass women and y'all think females ain't out here looking, Sharky just talked about it, looking to prey on guys, looking to catch one. It's high
That's
and
true.
and they would, and I'm sure Shauna can confirm this. High stress job
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of things, and one of those things is a physical releases in sex. For most people, is a huge release.
Yep. Especially in the healthcare, you have somebody that knows what your day was like. Know where you can't may not be able to go home to your partner and talk about. They know what's going on. They know exactly how your day was. So you
Mhm.
find that a lot of the times it tends to be an emotional or a friendship relationship first, and then it tends to build from there. But again, it's like it gets tricky. Golden rules: don't deal with nobody that got less to lose than you. And then you have to think about if this doesn't work, how is that person going to conduct themselves in the environment?
Yep.
Yeah, we talked
Are
about
you
that.
guys still going to be able to work together?
And we talked about that, and I talked about that deals with a level of emotional intelligence. How do you handle it? How do you handle it when you're attracted to somebody and it doesn't work out? And then, you see other people making moves and you thinking like, damn, are they getting connected? Shit.
Mind your business.
Yeah.
It's no longer your business. It's no longer your
Am
business.
I chopped liver? Why is she dealing with this
Yes,
person?
you are chopped liver. It's over.
Eh,
Move on. And then you just have to deal with the reality of what it is. You
but
have to
that's
realize
it.
everybody has a past, present, and a future.
but that's I think that's the thing that how do some people move? Some people can't move forward. They can't deal with rejection. They can't handle it.
You got to find
And
your
you
own
know what?
happiness. That's what happens when people live in misery, man.
Mm.
Like, you cannot live in misery. You cannot be like, what's meant to be will be, and you got to move on. And if that person wants you, and if that person wants to do good by you, they will eventually. I'm not saying everybody automatically, because especially men, they tend to be a little slow. Excuse me,
Mhm.
y'all. But
No,
sometimes they have to
absolutely, I agree.
lose. Sometimes they have to lose, and before they pick it up, and they like, oh wait, me myself, same situation. I had to. I don't want to say I had to. I moved to Maryland and
Mhm.
was like, to hell with all of this. Like, I don't care what you do, how you do it, what you do, what you move. And then I find like, oh, now all of a sudden you the best man since sliced bread. How? How? Why does it take me to move 4 hours away for you to turn up? Why does it take for me to now you just no, you're not having it? And it's just like sometimes it takes for people to realize like, oh, this person has motion. This person don't have to be here, or this is what I lost, or this is what life is like without you. But that workplace stuff, oof, oof, oof,
Yeah.
scary. And then people come back to work and talk. That's another thing. And that's another thing that I can appreciate about this situation that I was in, because at certain points it would be like, we only knew each other on a personal level, and these people have been working here for years. So they were friends, they were locked in. And before I knew it, I was having a little kickback kind of situation at my house, and it was like the whole security team is at my house. And and in that moment, after a while, I was like, oh yeah, that person can come, they're fine. Okay, that person can come, they're fine. And then after a while, I'm like, damn, these are all secure. Like, I had a whole security team in my house. And then after the fact, literally, we went to work, we worked together. Nobody ever mentioned being at my house.
Bingo,
Because
that's a beautiful
when you
thing.
think about it, we all have security clearances. We all are working on this contract for the Navy. So we all not playing these games. So I don't care whether it was a peaceful night, whether it was something salacious, whether it was this going on, whether it was that. Ain't nobody said a thing.
And that's how, and I always I consistently try and drive this point home is the importance, and Auntie talked about this, the importance of being discreet. And when
Yes.
you have that as a foundation, the amount of things that you can do and pull off without people being all over the place and being messy is wonderful.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and could you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's being on the up and up with people that you yeah, yeah, got the same common things that like, okay, we're not gonna speak on this, that we was all over there, but it's nothing to run our mouths about.
Right. And it don't even have to be said. That's the best
Yeah.
part about it. We don't even have to talk about it or have this conversation. There was no conversations about don't say anything. It just was never mentioned.
Now, my brother Carlos said absence makes the heart grow fonder. LOL. Now you could go with that theory, like if you don't see a person, uh,
Yeah, but somebody could come snatch him up too while you absent. So that's a dangerous game to play. Especially when somebody got motion, because I'm gonna be out. One thing about it, I'm gonna be outside. I'm gonna have my fun.
y'all in this outside thing, like, I don't know.
I'm gonna be outside at working outside.
Mm. I guess that's the generation gap with folks, because I hear that often with women and they 30s, 40s. Oh, I'm outside. I'm outside. And then when you get in
Yeah,
your
it's just out, out and about. But I can say, I even say to my now fiance, we sometimes we be like, we outside this weekend. We outside this weekend. Yes, that just means we not in the house being old people. That's all. And sometimes outside can even mean, but for real, outside could even mean us being out with the kids all weekend. We going on New Year's Eve, we were out with the kids literally, and we did not mean to do this because it. And I don't want to say it messed up our New Year's Eve, but we had a Well, he had a whole night planned. We were in back in the house by 1 o'clock because we was out with the kids all day, sun up to sundown. We thought they was gonna want to do breakfast, and we was like, oh, let's go here. And then Christmas just passed. Man, when I say they took us all over everywhere, we was at Dick's, Five Below. We was out
Mm.
Timonium, out Lutherville, and we was just like,
Spin it
wait,
up.
what is going on? Yeah, and then our crowd grew bigger and bigger. Then my sister met us. Then my the godmother Arnie met us. So then the kids at first they was like, oh, they was chilling out. We like, we here now. Why y'all walking in circles? We here in Dicks. Y'all better, like, y'all told us y'all wanted to come. Oh, we just wanted to look. Ain't no looking now. Y'all got, they like, oh, well, money, cause y'all got all this money right here. Y'all got four successful adults. Y'all better go find something in the store. Once we said that, they said, oh, for real? Oh, we outside. My son, he said, "Oh, we outside." Yeah, my son was in there trying to buy football helmets and all that. I'm like, no. First of all, I ain't say we wasting money. Why are you buying a football helmet? Like for
Yeah.
what? Your team has it. You have to have the same helmet as the rest of your team. Like, no, we're not buying football helmets, but they done got them some more Stanley Cups, all of that stuff. So outside is
Oh,
not. Yeah, yes, COVID did make everyone go outside. Yes, that's what it is. Just being out and about in the community with our drinks in hand. With our drinks in hand.
I understand that.
So, have you guys participated in any workplace relationships? I know it goes down in the school building.
What you trying to say?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just
I will
saying.
say not recently, but past. Oh, several.
Okay.
Oh, several. Matter
I,
of fact, let me see. One, two, at least three women on my friends list I've had workplace deliverances with, shall I say. We moved some furniture. Actually, four.
Mm,
One is an ex-girlfriend.
mm.
her moving
Oh,
Oh,
furniture.
so
we
this is a
dated.
hot. This is
Actually,
a
no, no, no,
habit
no.
at this
Two,
point.
two were. Two were.
This is a habit at this point, Herb.
The industry is shady.
But
I
no, for
tell you,
real, as adult, we're always at work. Where else are you gonna meet people?
Well, it sound like that's what Losu said. He said, "Who hasn't played in the workplace? It's the only place to play."
No, seriously,
I show you how to
seriously.
review coaches.
Then he
Industry is
said, "I'm
shady.
LOL teasing." He wasn't really
But see, this
teasing.
this is this is the thing that a lot of people they don't fully grasp. And the reasons why they don't fully grasp it is because they're incapable of it. And I'll put it in this or in these terms. We always hear about should have, could have, or would have. Take matter of fact, take the situation you talk about trying to see with the surgeon who came in. You hear some woman say, "Well, I could have had him. Well, why didn't you?" And all you hear
Right.
are the
He
you hear
chose
some
who he
fellas say,
chose. Yes, and his little nurse wife, who he made his fiance, and see what they all miss is they don't even know their backstory. He always talks about meeting that the woman that he met at that hospital. She was already an established nurse. while he
Talked
was a
about it earlier.
resident. He was she was established nurse. He was a resident. So his money was peons compared to what she was already making.
Hmm.
She was with him while he was still doing his residency. So she wasn't with him for the money. So yeah, 10 years later, he bought her $1 million house and said, no, come home, sit down. Why? Because you wrote it out with me. You was here for the long run. So you're not interested in you weren't interested in the established me. You were interested in me before I became me. So that's one. Another important thing to take is when power dynamics come into play in the workplace.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um that manager or that you don't ever want to. I think no, I that is where I do draw the line. I do think that is unacceptable. I don't think that higher ups should deal with I don't want to call them lower, but people that work for you. I do not think that you should deal with people that work for you. I think that's a messy situation. It could be really messy for you and the company. That I definitely would stay away from in the workplace. When it comes to power dynamics, that no, 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 no. If you have the ability to change somebody's standing within a company, change their salary, up it or lower it, stay away from it. Cause before you know it,
There's,
one or two good nights, she done got a $30,000 raise in 2 years. It's the math won't math.
so honestly, I hate to cut you off, but I'm so glad you mentioned that. There is a case that's ongoing now in New York City where a chief that just resigned, two women got over $200,000 each in overtime. Why? Because he was
Oh yeah.
boinking it.
Yep. Yep.
If you don't believe me, look it up.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's especially for men, because men. I'm not saying all, but I'm saying men do get lost in the punani, so they start making
That that that,
decisions that
that
they
Venus
don't normally
flytrap.
make. Huh?
I said that Venus flytrap.
Yep. And they start making decisions that they wouldn't normally make, and it tends not to be good for them.
Oh boy, man, oh man, oh man. If I mean, like, if people just really don't know, they think this is something that's of a bygone era, and this is like, no, people have just learned to keep they open up their legs, unzip their zipper, but they learn to keep their mouths closed. And because you're not privy to it, you think nobody's doing it.
Right.
Well, I will say this: if you don't know, you don't know. But if you do, you quiet with it. Matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, you like a blind person reading a book. Only you know.
Carlos just dropped some stats. He said 85% of affairs outside of marriage begin at work.
I'm surprised not 99.9% of them.
I can tell you why it's not 100% is because, and we talked about workplace meetings. You bring your wife or your husband to a workplace function. They see somebody you work with, ticks a couple boxes. Next thing you know, they done got a hold of some workplace um, employee roster, shall we say? And next thing you know, they sing a TLC. That's why I creep. Just keep it on
Mm.
the down low. I'm,
Yep, and they
I'm.
will shake your hand too. Hey, Mrs. Such and such. He'll be right
I,
out.
I, I mean,
No.
it's funny. We would watch Jerry Springer when we were younger, and we would hear about this stuff, and people would say, "Oh no, this is salacious. This stuff doesn't happen." How would you not know that they messing with your coworker, your cubicle buddies? Hey,
Yep, that does happen. That does definitely happen.
I'm here to tell you. And then something that people don't consider, and that's something we haven't mentioned because it doesn't really happen to the extent where it will register, is if you have somebody who's a coworker who deals with somebody who habitually is in and out of jail, they looking they looking to move some furniture. They need some help.
Mm. Mm.
We laying that carpet, pulling that carpet up, hanging some
I'm
pictures.
weak.
I'm just saying, they they need some help.
Mm.
Them
Mm.
conjugal visits are okay, but they can't have them conjugal visits all the time. They might need some help. So I'm just saying, put your feelers out there.
Yeah, and I can't deny how easy it is to fall into. Because again, if you're at work all the time and this person is right there in your face, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't really have to go looking. It's like it almost drops in your lap.
Yes, it does.
It
Like
almost
raindrops on your head.
drops in your lap.
And one of the things to add to that, even from career builders, they said, did you know, according to career builders, that over 40% of people have had an office romance before? The word on the job scene is that men date at work for love and women do it to get ahead.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts?
I just talked about the Joy
Oh,
Taylor situation.
yes, yes. So this is uh all right. Here's my thing. I I'm not a hater. If you want to pop that pussy to get where you need to be, shit. Hey, hey, who am I? Who am I to judge?
Mm.
I just don't like the other side of it. So if you decided that you were going to come into a workplace, you do feel like you're talented, you do feel like you have the potential to be this, that, or the third thing, but you know, or you feel like you might not get there because of maybe patriarchy or because, somebody else has more longevity or somebody has more seniority in the place than you. And you like, you know what? I could trap him. He always in my face. He always grinning and blushing every time I come around. If I get him, I get where I need to be. I climb this ladder just the way I need to be. I'm not hating on you, sis. But once you get up there, don't try to shoot that man down because that's crazy. To me, that's crazy. You decided that she was going to do that. So it's either you going to do what it do and shut up and count your blessings, or you just don't do it at all. That's the part about that I don't like. Like it's either you're gonna be or not be.
I'm telling you guys, you guys, for those of you who have not, you need to go look at that Fox Sports One lawsuit, because what Shaughnessy just talked about is mentioned in that lawsuit. People keep thinking
Yep.
that, and it's like, shout out to Coach Greg Adams, man. Coach Greg Adams always nails it with this. He said, "Men are in it for love, women are in it." I'm saying, no, no. Let me make sure I quote him correctly. He said, "Women are no, men are in it for love, women are in it for finances," something to that extent. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
y'all better understand that they are playing a different game.
Right.
They are playing a different game, and a lot of men who don't have that sexual discipline,
A lot of
they're
them.
yep,
Bunches of them.
they're getting caught out there. Now, I'm not here
Yeah.
to tell, like I said earlier in the disclaimer, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you how to do it.
I just want to know
So if
when men gonna start making these women that are consensually doing things with them sign NDAs. And I talk about, especially when you're in a position of power, like you know what kind of world we live in. And again, I'm not saying that women should go around opening their legs to get on top or to do what they need to do. But I do
that's
agree.
what it is,
We gotta
Jedi. Thank you.
play. We can't pick and choose where we say my body, my choice. So it's your body, your choice, right? So shut up. You got what you wanted. You got what you needed. Shut up. Go ahead. Bounce. Do what you need to do. Why you trying to? It just it gets real. Ugh. If.
I think the problem with men, and that's what Coach Greg Adams' slogan is: "Men are in love, women are in business." Men are
Yeah.
operating from the perspective of, if I lose it, I can rebuild it. And the problem with that is this: you might be able to rebuild it, but do you really want to consistently chase after what you've already accomplished? When, like Shaughnessy said, if you get that NDA, you don't have to retrace your tracks. I'm going to mention a couple names. Stephen A. Smith. Nobody ever hears about the women he dates. Some people will say, "Well, Stephen A. is not into sports in that regard," and I'll say, "Yep." Say, you know what? You are absolutely correct. I'll mention another name, Derek Jeter, Hall of Fame Yankee shortstop, arguably one of the most visible franchises, one of the most visible sports franchises in the world. He is purported to have had a roster of grade A women in his career. His career
Mm-hmm.
spanned 20 years, and no one ever heard a word about the women that he was dealing with.
Got to
Why?
vet them correctly.
And as Justice Shaughnessy said, not only that, they signed that NDA. There's a lot of people who are mad at men that make them sign that. Why? Because they want to do like
But see, that's
homegirl.
your first sign. That's your first sign. When somebody is upset that you trying to sign the NDA, you already know it's trouble. Cause
Yeah.
why? Why are you mad that we want to be quiet about this? Same
Uh,
thing with prenups. Like, and I do agree that prenups are different. Some, men be trying to,
yeah.
oh, look, if I cheat, you still leave with nothing, or if I do this, da 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 da. I get those, but sign if you in this for love and you're in this for this person, sign a prenup. Sign a prenup, sis. Build yours while you with them. Build your own while you with them. You
There's a
don't gotta worry about when or if he leaves you.
this is to what you're saying, Shaughnessy. There's I'll have to dig up this gentleman, his interview on the Diary of a CEO, and I'll drop it in the counselor's corner. There's an attorney who talked about prenups, and he had one couple. They got married, and what people don't understand about prenups is you can make a prenup cover
Tailor,
every
yeah,
conceivable
yeah,
outcome.
and
So when I
tailor to
talk
your
about,
situation and your
yes,
relationship.
yep. So if that man thinks, if the woman thinks he's the potential exists for him to be unfaithful, sit down with your attorney, have them write that into a clause. Matter of fact, I'll go to Janet Jackson. They had in a
Oh,
prenup in their marriage agreement
she
that
ran
if
off on
she
the
gives this
plug.
child, if she gives that gentleman, yeah, yeah, if she gives that gentleman a male heir, she got, I think it was like $500 million.
Yep,
What do you think she did at 49? She dropped that child, slid out the back door with almost half a bill,
man,
not
I
a
would have
bill,
been
half a
googling.
bill,
I
and
would
that
have
was
been
in the prenuptial
googling
agreement.
everything to say that you have a boy. Stand on your head and jump 5 times. I'd have been doing it all. I'd have made sure
Yeah,
I had that boy.
yeah.
Yep.
Back to what I was saying. The lawyer said that um if if the husband strayed, the wife will get X million of dollars for however how many years they've been married. You can
Mhm.
people look into, and this is probably something that David and I will get into down the road, is prenuptial agreements. Because a lot of people, they think that a prenup is a bad thing, and it isn't. A prenup is just like a business agreement. It can
A
protect
marriage
you.
is a business agreement.
It's the ultimate business agreement. And a prenup, what people don't understand, especially for men, let me drop some game for you men out there. If you know you are the type to mess around and you got something to lose, put it in the prenup. Put it in the prenup that you're allowed to have extramarital affairs, provided you don't bring home any kids, create a public embarrassment, or bring home an STD.
That is crazy. I'm not signing
Hold on,
that.
hold on, hold on, hold on. And if you do, she's a and I'm not talking about something incurable. I'm not. I want to make sure that people understand. I'm just saying something that can be cured up.
But
That
still,
doesn't
that's
need
so
any.
crazy just to even think. Now, I do know protection and you have to do all of that, but I don't know. Prenups are so, ugh, they're so weird to me because I don't know. I guess I want to feel like the person that I am going to marry, and people are, and people do get upset and they become different people, et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera. But I would like to think that the person that you're deciding to marry and take this step with is always going to look out for your better good. If
I will
you're,
say. Go
because
ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know, like I guess me speaking, I think I'd probably just be the doormat because I probably would just sign the prenup. I probably would just sign the prenup, especially if I'm not in it to gain. If I'm here for love and I'm here for you, then the rest of it is not is not for me. And then I also believe that if you're going to be in a marriage where a person is providing for you financially and doing for you financially, so much so that a prenup has to be in place, build your own. You're going to have access to that money, build your own, create your own business. So that in the case that whether he leaves you or whether he leaves this earth, regardless of life insurance or nothing, you have something to produce your own income. That's what women need to start thinking. Yes, I'm with this man that he protects, he provides. He has $100 million contract here. Cool. Get you while you have access to those finances. Build you guys a business. Build you guys a business. Put some stuff in your name. Create some assets for yourself.
Mhm. I agree. The problem with that is this: even with the level of education that women are obtaining, a
Hmm.
lot of them don't understand finances to that point. So even if they're going into building a business
Do you
and they
have to
have the equity,
understand
they don't
finance?
understand long term. And because they don't understand long term, they get caught up in this. Oh well, he's not going to leave me. Well, he said this. The best leverage you have against that is, like you said, is to have your own. So if it does go sideways or something happens, you're protected. And this is, and I
But not
think
even just one to have your own. Do you not just want to be successful in your own right?
some women don't care. Some women want to be kept, and they could care less about. Oh, he
I want to be
handles the
kept too.
finances.
I
He
want to be
do that.
kept
I'm
too,
not concerned
but I
about
want to be
that.
able to keep us if need be as well.
Some women don't think like that, and that's what I was getting at. It's the women that don't think like that
Mm.
end up finding themselves in a bad way. And I'm not saying the husband's intent was to be abusive or manipulative or to financially castrate her and leave her vulnerable. Sometimes
Mm.
things just happen, just like you said. So even though there may have been a life insurance policy out for him in case he dies, you still want to maintain a standard of living, and that life insurance policy may not have it. Now,
But
let's
sometimes you
let's
gotta stay down till you come up. Cause who's this girl? She wasn't married. I can't remember. It's a football player, basketball player, whatever it was. And basically, I think she gets like 55 grand a month in child
ooh.
support, and she wants more. And she's
Oh,
citing lifestyle and things of that nature. But To me, it's like, girl, 55,000 a month. If you don't stay down until you come up, you could get to that lifestyle that you want without going back and forth. You making that man spend all
Some
his
don't want to
toys.
work.
Be the man friend. You giving me $55,000 a month. I don't care who you cheated on or what you did with what. Give me my 55 grand. We gonna do this. We gonna do this. I'm gonna make sure you my friend. I'm gonna make sure you our co-parenting situation straight, because now I gotta build for me. So I'm gonna make sure you
Mhm,
want to pay for the nanny. I'm gonna make sure you want to watch the kid when I gotta go on a business trip. I'm gonna make sure
mhm.
you want to do these things so that I can do for me and I can build on my own. You already got the golden ticket with the baby.
See, that's when I see stuff like that, that's just ridiculous. 55,000 a month. Like, I don't even know who would approve that, especially when you're dealing with athletics and stuff like that. Like, that's not. I don't even think you could base that on that. That's because that's only for a set amount of time
But
that
child
you
support,
have a short window.
yeah, you can always change I think it's, well, in certain states and stuff like that, you can always change the numbers and stuff like that on those things. So let's just say you have a good contract now and that contract may change later, or your
Yeah,
retirement is to a certain amount now. You can change that or reduce that income. And that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Same thing. Like, some of these women, you're so busy trying to get back with the pockets. No, ride this out. So when he do retire and he changed that child support up, or he lose that contract, because now he could do anything. He could,
yeah.
have one wild night with a girl and lose everything, and it has nothing to do with you and your child, and now your child support changed. You should have been
Right.
building instead of trying to live the high life. Stay down till you come up.
Yeah, some people, they
55
if
grand a month.
they
Hmm.
learn, some people learn the hard way. I mean, that's 600,000, 600, 600, 660,000 a year, tax free.
Man,
You can
listen.
go buy into a franchise. I mean, there's so many different things that can be done with that kind of money. Especially,
Right.
you can go
We
hire
would,
hire you a financial consultant, get into crypto. There's a matter of
any
fact,
the
real
anything.
estate,
Right.
and I talked about that often. Real estate is always going to be in demand, and depending on where you buy, you can
Yep.
be making a killing it. And with the rising cost of living, real estate might be the best bet. And when I say real estate, I'm not necessarily talking about land speculation. I'm not talking about going out and buying some land and hoping that that land increases in value. I'm talking about going out and buy places where people got to live. It's pretty
Hmm.
much guaranteed income.
An
Guaranteed.
apartment building, anything.
Yes. Carlos asked me a question. He said, "Well, how do you do what it is that you and what are people getting wrong?" First thing is people got to learn to keep their mouths closed. Auntie said it, discretion.
Yep.
If you can't do those two things, then you can
They've been
forget
telling
about
us
doing
not to
anything else.
kiss and tell for forever.
Who?
Everybody. The
Mothers,
artists, the
fathers,
music, the
yeah,
songs, all of
yeah.
that.
Keep your mouth closed. Stop telling people. I've been saying this for forever and a decade. Stop telling people who you do what with.
Yep.
Stop. It ain't none of their damn business. I don't care if your roommate hear you in a room with some female and he asked who it was. Oh, wasn't nobody in the room last night. Come on, dog. I heard you. Wasn't nobody in the room last night. Come on, man. I heard you. Now you heard the quiet storm.
I don't even have to go as far as to lie. I don't know what you're
No, it's
talking
not.
about.
Tell somebody that there was nobody in the room is a polite way of telling them none of your motherfucking business.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, you sleep good last night? Didn't I see you there with who? Didn't
And
I
you know
see
the
you
funny thing
yesterday
about
with
that
who?
Spanish is this:
Where? You saw
every
me yesterday
every so
where?
often, every so often, we'll get calls because I work in the hotel. We'll get calls regarding that kind of activity. You go up there and you say, "Hey, ain't nothing going on." I hear them. Ain't nothing going on. But I hear them. Ain't nothing going on. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So what people think is simple, it's not that simple when we break this down and people say, "Oh, I'll never deal," come with they thing. I'll never deal with nobody at work and come up with all this stuff. Then I don't know where you worked at because it's going to be some challenges. It's going to be some temptations. Yeah, it's how you move.
Mhm.
It's how you
Yeah.
move, and certainly,
And
some
that
people.
vetting process is important.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
That vetting process is important. Find you somebody that's willing to stay out the way, that wants to stay out the way and enjoys peace.
yeah. Well, a lot of people say they want peace, but they say it, but their actions say different.
Mm-hmm.
The actions say different by the way the things that they do, their influence, what they post, and all that stuff. You say you want peace, but you post every goddamn thing that happens in your life on social media.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's not about peace. That's about that either you're targeting someone to say, look at me, what I'm doing, or you're looking for validation. You're not content on your life that you have to do all that.
Mhm.
Right. And people are so pressed on not minding people's business, like,
Yeah.
or minding somebody else's business. If I see something on social media and it speaks to me and it gives that I'm single, don't think or assume that I'm single. Don't think or assume that there's something going on within my household. I just like the post. I'm sharing it with the
Yeah.
world. That don't mean nothing going on. I could be laying right next to him, whoever
Mm.
him is, and I could be posting F niggas get money. Like, so what? So what?
It's true.
Meanwhile, we just closed on a business deal together.
That's why I tell people I simply put, I very rarely, very seldomly post anything about my personal life on Facebook. My profile for Facebook is open to the public. It has
Hmm.
been since 2011. I make it a
Mine's
point
be
to
all over the
censor
place. You
myself.
don't know what to believe, what not to believe. You'll get yourself, gain yourself an aneurysm trying to figure it out.
You be doing a lot, Shaughnessy. You be doing a lot. Yeah,
Trying to figure it out. And I might just post because I know you looking.
yeah.
I know you trying to figure it out.
You,
Now I'm gonna confuse you. Now you about to be confused.
oh, definitely. You could definitely play them head games with people
Yes. Now
and
you about to
cross
be
them
real
over.
confused.
So when we think about this, and even if you tie it back to the yesterday when this was going down, at certain points, you got the modern day, but then yesterday, some guys they called all the shots. Everything went down. Everything went in their favor. Like when you research it, and it was that is it the Madman era?
Hmm.
So we had to make a shift. people had to make a shift to that culture. But
Yeah.
some guys still in it. They never transitioned. Like they felt like I could still do what I can do, still say what I can say to women, and probably those the ones got jammed up.
Yep. And then a lot of times it's internal and it's self. Some people aren't self aware. Some people are very insecure in their own right. Men and women. Men and women. Because as a man, if you are really uh, a leader and you really do your part and what needs to be done in the household, you don't need to say that. You don't need to boast about it. You don't need to belittle your partner. You know what's going on, and she knows what's going on, and everything will fall in line just the way you need it to be. It's that ego and them power dynamics really gets to people's head.
Yeah, a lot of people like to flex, and like you said, it's flexing really becomes the domain of the people who've never had it. It's the sports adage. Act like you've been there before. A lot of people
Right.
they don't know how to. They don't know how to just be.
Yep.
You give them VIP access. All of a sudden now they acting like they the HNIC. They're trying to tell somebody what they can do. They're trying to tell somebody what they can't. Just like, yo, just go in
Just
there
chill.
and be cool.
Yep. Your persona, how you move, your work will speak for itself.
Auntie did say that. Like, act like you had something. Act like you've been
Mhm.
involved with something. But
Mm-hmm.
but I can think about like situations. I remember when I was at I wasn't young, but when I had first got my master's in I was going through doing my intern, and I had my intern supervisor. She always kept asking me, this is a white woman, and she was like, "We going to the happy hour. We going to the happy hour," and I like, nah, I'm good. I just never bought into it, and I kept shooting her down. And I had a young lady. We was in a class together, and she worked at the same site. And she's like, "Man, I get so tired of her bringing up your name, David this, David that. She act like you the greatest thing since sliced bread." She's like, "I'm like a glorified secretary as the intern." She wouldn't let her do anything, only filing and stuff. But I kept shooting her down. And then one day, I think I said, I got to switch my schedule around because I got to finish writing this paper. Things went sour, but I was never interested in her. And I called in. Well, I texted her and said I'm not gonna make it in, but I'll work all day the next day. Oh, she didn't like that. So when I came in the next day, I'm sitting in the counseling area in the waiting area. She had me waiting in there for like probably about an hour, hour and a half before she came out. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm getting frustrated. And then finally, when she came out, she pulled me to another room. Like, you, that was so unprofessional about you. What you did. These kids can count on you when you get out into the real world. And I'm like, yo, hold on, cowgirl. I've been in the real world. I'm like 32 at this time. Like, I've been in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who you talking to? And she just kept going on and focusing on that. And even to the point throughout that time, she had asked me to like, do I want to come over for Thanksgiving and work on like the high school magnet process? And I was like, nah, Thanksgiving. I said, that's the time for family. football, drinks. No, I can't. That's not gonna happen. So
You the
all of this,
football.
yeah, all of this, I really wasn't paying attention. And my the counseling coordinator at the time, she was like, after all this went down, when I told her, because I ended up switching sites, she's like, "This is bullshit, David." She's like, "When I came out and did a site visit, you were the greatest thing since sliced bread." She said for her to make that switch, and she's like, "You do realize?" She's like, "Why didn't you bring this up when we were talking about like during supervision and we had scenarios? This was the perfect thing about being unethical." Asking you to come to happy hours and all that. I said, I don't know. I just did. She's like, this would have been like a classic one. And she said, you do realize that if you went over for Thanksgiving, you was gonna be her dessert, right? I said, I never thought about it. And she like kind of rolled her eyes and she like unreal. Like, I can't believe you. I kind of knew what was going on, but I just she didn't even float my boat, so I didn't think about it like that. I just kept it moving. But I tell you, everything shifted when I didn't show up that one day. I mean, she wrote a bad evaluation for me and everything. that, that I end up having to leave the school and intern somewhere else. But what the funny
Wow.
thing is, when I was saying goodbye to everybody, and I went to this one, she's an administrator, this black lady, and I was like, she was on the phone eating her little greens and chicken and all that stuff. She was on the phone with I guess one of her girlfriends. She's like, hold on for a second. And I was like, I'm just coming by, say thank y'all for the opportunity. And I'm just saying goodbye. And she's like, hold on, wait a minute, goodbye. Where you going? Then I told her about the situation. And of course, she got hood. She's like, oh, that bitch. She's like, that bitch tripping. She said, she said, so you're telling me that you're here, free help, helping out our black kids, and you're a black male in counseling, and because I had told her, the one who was trying to hit on me, I was like, I'm gonna have to change my thing. I instead of being here for a full day, I could do 2 days, 2 half days. And she was like, do you want to stay here? And I was like, nah. She's like, because I could tell you. She's like, she must don't know fucking math. 2 days, 2 half days is better than one full day. So what if you can't make it that full day and they got to wait all that time to see you? But if you have 2 half days,
Right.
if you didn't get to see somebody, at least you can see them that half day. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to, let it go. And she's like, oh, she's like, because she was about to really roast her. But I just stepped away. But yeah, it was crazy. But that was that, that harassment or
She
that
wanted to
movement.
jump on that pogo stick, and you
Yeah,
ain't let her.
nah, yeah, yeah.
That's the
She,
problem.
yeah, she wanted to. She was asking for me to come to the happy hours. I declined it. Then on Thanksgiving, she wanted me to come over. Like the great Dr. Conway said, she said, you do realize she was about to be her Thanksgiving meal if you'd have went over there. And she's like, I can't believe you didn't pick up on that. And then I was like, maybe I just was locked in, whatever. She was like, because hearing that woman when I came out to the site visit, David this, David that, David this, David that. Yeah, when I didn't show up that one time, I don't know, like what she thought was gonna happen at what time. But I guess she lost. I guess she felt like, oh my god, I haven't seen him in like 4 or 5 days. And then when I shut it down, she got
She thought
irritated.
she
Then
was maintaining a level of control, and she wasn't.
yeah, that's true.
That's what it was.
Gita said we have crossed the
I do know
Republican
this.
side.
I do know that the adage hell have no fury like a woman scorned. It's true. And the thing about it is this: given that
situation and the particulars, like Shaughnessy said, she thought she was in the power position,
Mhm.
failing to realize ultimately the only way you can be in a power position is if you can dictate somebody's behavior.
Yep.
She couldn't dictate her behavior no more than a man who has a boatload of money. And we saw this in the movie Heat, I think it was. No matter how much money you have as a man, you still can't dictate a female's behavior.
Mhm.
You can't buy it. So it becomes, what are your tolerances for loss?
Yep.
And we saw this with not Warren Buffett. Um oh gosh. Um Jeff Bezos.
Mm.
How much did his ex-wife get in the divorce?
I don't know, but when she started giving all that money to HBCUs, that was hilarious. I said, "Oh, he." In my head, I just knew he had to be. He had to have a racist bone in his body to for her to take
Didn't
all his
care.
money.
He made that money back and then some. He didn't care. He wanted to get rid of that chick because he wanted to go ahead and do what he was doing. And that's why I was saying, what is your tolerance for loss? He has great tolerance for loss.
Yeah.
That's a write off for him. Okay. I
Well, for
the
her
movie of
too.
Bronx Tale. Say it again, Chauncey.
For her too. It was a write off for her too.
Well, no, I'm talking about in terms of a loss. Yes, she gets to write the money off in donations, but he's done with her. He doesn't have to be bothered with her again in life, and that's why we're going to bring up the movie in Bronx Tale. For those of you who have seen the movie, you'll probably understand when he was running back to tell Sonny to thank him, and the dude he owed him the $20. He said, "Man, I ain't worried about that $20." Kept going.
Yeah.
The tolerance. So, and this is what you were asking about earlier, Carlos. What is your tolerance for loss, whether you're male or female? You got somebody that you're dealing with, and they threaten to take you under, and you pull a coattail on. You say, "Hey, go ahead, do your damage." All of a sudden, now the power they thought they had, they don't have,
Sometimes that pisses
because you,
people off
you
even more though.
say it again, Shaughnessy.
I said sometimes that pisses people off even more when they
Right,
try to
and
pull
that's when
a
they
power.
really,
Yeah, they try to pull a power move on you, and you like, oh
yeah,
well, okay. I'm gonna go
right,
ahead and I'm gonna count my losses and I'm gonna keep moving. I'm gonna pick it back up, pull it together, and then they just it kind of another
yep,
level,
mm-hmm,
a new challenge for them.
yep,
And that's because they don't expect you to be able to make moves like that. A lot of times people think when you're in a job, you're locked in. Like you don't have no options. Like where they gonna go? Like they give the greatest benefits or whatever the case is. But meanwhile, you know the things that you have set in place. So they think they can get away with anything till you show them
mm-hmm,
like, yo, I'm out of here. I'm done.
yep,
So needless to say, with an old girl, I end up jump. I end up going back. I was doing it in Buffalo. I ended up going back to Niagara Falls and went to my elementary school that I went to. So that was the greatest gift to be able to come back and be in the halls of that school that I was actually a part of. And like, wow, that was a blessing. And
Right.
but things happen, and people try to make moves, and it's a control mechanism. Some of it, the workplace thing, like how much control could you gain over somebody, or especially when you know a certain situation. Some people play on that when you have somebody and they were like, yeah, it's hard. Me and my ex broke up. I got this car note. I got to pay this. I got this and that. And they sitting there, antennas going up like I'm the big dog. Hmm, let me see how I can work this out. and that's when you have some of them kind of taking advantage of people at their lowest point. Like if you got to come up on somebody's lowest point,
Right. Yeah. That
that's not gonna really it's not gonna pan out
karma
really in
is
the long run.
always watching.
You want somebody at their best, and I mean you might not get nobody at their best, but at least they're trying to climb to be the best, and then you work it. Y'all working together to get them to that level. But if you're someone that waits for people to be down and vulnerable, shame on you. You're probably gonna get what you're gonna get. Mm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
Happy New Year to you too, Juliet.
that talking. Okay,
All the way from the
Juliet.
UK. It's got to be next day over there. They're about 8-9 hours ahead. Yeah, got to be midday there.
So that just show you we got people tuning in from the UK and the counselor's corner. But we gonna what time is it? We went in a little bit tonight. We haven't did that in a while.
Yeah.
We gonna get ready to close it out because I'm at the mad schoolhouse. We're at that time of the year that all of a sudden people want to make shifts. Change. They see a brand new building. The kid got to get in there somehow, some way.
Uh
So all these new enrollments, and I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? Yeah, they just it's just never ending. But I'm at the thing about it. I'm at the time that is. I'm about to rise up, and it's almost time to get up out of the school system.
Gray matter.
oh really?
Huh?
I said, oh really?
What you didn't know, Shaughnessy? You didn't know?
I did not. I did not.
Well, at least in Maryland, it's been 20 years, and
Oh
prior
wow.
and prior to that, in New York, it was 10, 11 years. So I done put
Oh.
in like 30 some years.
You older than I thought you was.
Don't get smart. Boy.
oh my
But you already know, like, as far as my Maryland experience, y'all always gonna be near and dear to me. Like
yes.
y'all the
Yes.
one, y'all probably was the first group that gave me gray hairs. I was probably had straight black hair coming down here. Y'all didn't
Easily.
know. Yeah,
Easily
yeah,
responsible for
yeah.
most of the grays.
Mm-hmm. I was like, damn, they giving me a. I remember y'all should be in my office and they'd be knocking on the door. Are you okay in there? Why wouldn't I be? They just talking. They just running their mouths, but they used to be so concerned. Like, are you okay?
We are just little girls. He's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. They just running their mouths, going back and forth. But now,
It's just a therapy session here.
now you shaking up the world. Like it's crazy how time fly by.
Yes, it is. It is.
We definitely missed you. And I know you've been grinding in school and doing your thing and relocated back to Baltimore. So you've been making big moves. And
Yes, yes. I'm trying. Just trying to be successful, trying to make all your gray hairs worth it.
you all good. Never would doubt that you wouldn't be successful. Each and every one of y'all all had a different
I
skill.
know. I said that. I was like the class of 2009. Like for the most part, we are doing really, really good. A lot of us are successful. It's a lot of successful people from our class, and we were looking shaky. We were looking real shaky.
And it was just that y'all was young and yeah, y'all was different, y'all was unique, and y'all came and y'all did y'all thing. So I don't think I ever doubted it. I was like, They special, and y'all proved that all of y'all went up, that got higher level positions and doing your thing, and that just shows you. Sometimes
Yes, doctors,
sometimes you gotta have a good
lawyers.
buffer. I think
Yes,
I was that buffer.
we had to show you like the harder they are in high school, the more successful they're gonna be in life.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of times people don't understand or get that, but so I guess that's the importance of this topic about work romance and all the different levels of it. It's levels to it. How you gonna handle it? It's never gonna go away. It's always gonna be attractions. It's always gonna be people saying, "Hey, man, things ain't going right in my life, but man, I like my secretary," or or different roles. So how do you handle it? What do you do? How do you move forward? How do you get to a point that, yeah, we can work together and nobody ever have to know, and we could ride out to the sunset and leave this place? A lot going on. How do y'all handle that? Let's close it out. Well, we know it's never going to be a full closeout because this conversation going always, all these conversations going to be endless. They going to always surface over and over. Shaughnessy, you got
Definitely.
anything to close out as far as this subject matter? Shaughnessy, maybe we lost her.
I think she muted up. She might be doing something.
All right,
Yeah.
Herb.
You know me, people. Hey, we just just bringing you some information. How you move is your choice, but make sure whatever you do, you have a plan. Execute your plan. Stay true to yourself, and you should have very few problems. So with that, growth and understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time. Remember, either you're taking a brick out of the wall or you're putting one in.
Mm. So Julia said, "Work and such relationships should not be mixed." My opinion. Yeah, we covered that. We talked about it, but then again, when you think about the percentages in the data, and it says that most people meet like that, so something got to give. If they're saying these percentages that's happening, then the old way of thinking, and I don't think it's the old way of thinking because we know that even we think about yesterday's work romances, that it was going down. It was just the influence was different, that it happened and you shouldn't speak on it. And that was the what was it? I keep that little. I know the Me Too movement. What is it? The Madman or whatever era, whatever the era was. You weren't privy to really too much force the issue to keep talking about that. They called the shots. So the boss, the superiors, kind of ran things. So things happen. Now they put policies and procedures in place, but it still doesn't mean it don't stop change. When you attracted to somebody and you work with them all the time, that doesn't mean for people listening like, oh, I don't really work that often, and my wife goes to work, or my man goes to work. Is he gonna meet somebody at the job? Don't always work like that. It's just like certain situations. connections happen. We'll talk about it in the future. Shaughnessy probably had to bail out. Thanks, Shaughnessy, for coming back on, the youngest in charge. Missed you. You always bring that young perspective. And the thing about that is, if you was listening, when I first came down here, she was one of my first. She was on my first caseload of students. Back in was it 2005, and now she's like 30, 31, and a nurse is striving, and but she understands like the temperament I had to have to deal with them. They called themselves the glam squad. They were wild. Every day they were wild. They had a lot of stuff going on, Julia said, and especially when it's black to black. The woman can be vulnerable so much. The black man needs to protect the woman, not stress them with advances. Why should some behave in this mannerism? Her probably like, I would eat that subject up.
What was that? I didn't hear that. I was reading something.
Oh, it said she said, and especially when it's black to black, the woman can be vulnerable so much. The black man needs to protect the woman, not stress them with advances. Why should some behave in that mannerism?
Well, simply put, they're not gonna have to worry about that much longer.
Mm. Gita said, thanks for another great conversation, gentlemen. Go Bills. Go Bills. Even though I'm down here in Baltimore land, go Bills. Let the weather be cold, brick cold, and let's see if Lamar can play in on skates. I don't know how the weather gonna be. I don't know how the weather gonna be, but
This for the game this weekend is supposed to be high 30s. So it's going to be cool. It's not going to be cold. They're not predicting any snow, so this is going to be reasonably good for this time of the year.
we'll see. It's gonna be could be all time good game. And the one thing, and we switch, and not to minimize Juliet, what you're saying. Well, I mean, I think we do have to address that topic, but to move on, I think Gita's about sports because anybody in sports, you get amped up like this weekend. It's gonna be big, and and for me, it's a lot of things about to go down in sports, like boxing and basketball is heating up. All-Star game coming up and different things. So us guys kind of that's our that's our driving force. A lot of time that keeps us relaxed and keep us calm. She said, workplace should be for work, and places for relationships should be elsewhere. You honed on it on that way.
Yeah, but see this is the problem when you have half the information that you need to have in order to make a full argument. The COO of Facebook was lamenting at the fact that men were no longer mentoring women so they could excel in positions of leadership. See, this is the problem that women have. They want to be able to pick and choose from what they get from men and then say, well, I don't want this, I want that. This is what I want, I don't want that. Newsflash. As a person, you don't have the right to set what somebody does, particularly when it comes to the workplace environment. So long as they're not violating protocol and they're not violating the individual, people are going to approach. We talked about this earlier in the show. It's natural to have human interaction. There's nothing wrong about that. The problem is this: women make rules for those men they don't want, and for those men they want, they break those rules. See, that becomes a female problem and not a male problem. Because if the answer was no across the board, nobody would have a problem. If workplaces mandated that women wore hijabs to work, you ought to have a problem with that. Why? Because you don't get to show off your sensuousness. Your sensuousness. You don't get to show off your sexuality. So what is it that you really want? Talk to me. Because, see, I'm here for that discussion. Dave just told you I would eat it up. I'm hungry right now. I ain't ate all day. We can go another couple hours if you want to. So let me know. I mean, if this is a topic you want to bring up, I'm more than willing to bring it up. But it ain't the men that don't want to. So when you say men, who exactly are you talking about? Because if it was the men you want, you roll out the red carpet. No pun intended. But since it ain't the men you don't want, you don't roll out the red carpet. Because this is something we talked about last week when we talked about being single. The unwillingness to compromise. See, women are compromised for the men that they want, but they won't for the men they don't want.
And
See, I'm an OG in the game.
And I think that sums it up. Whatever. If it's a guy that you like and you're interested in, they can say what the hell ever. They could do whatever, and you go like, oh, you gonna make excuses. But it's the guys that you totally turned off against. That's when harassment and all of that stuff is brought up. Keep an even playing field, whatever. Like, because even the guys that you don't want, now, not saying it's an absolute, most of them, if you give them a stern response, they'll disappear. Unless something mentally is wrong with them, that they will keep going and then they'll force themselves on you. But it's the guys that you want that they can do whatever. And more than likely, it turns reverse that you're probably pressing them more than anything, and they just may dismiss you. So it's so we always talk about it's so much more to this. It's so much that you have to break down different layers to it, but sometimes you're not willing to do that or engage in that. And you can't jump in and engage in the last 10 minutes of it. We've been talking about this for years. And it's not gonna go away. So what you gonna do? Can't avoid work romances or people that oh, she came back. Why should a woman be vulnerable by relationship conversation at work? Why should a woman tolerate such discussion? Sadly, some men can be so lonely that they want to look for women at workplaces. Why? It's it soon it soon can be harassment because some lack good boundaries.
I just mentioned this. Women make boundaries and rules for the men they don't want, and for the ones they do want, they roll out the red carpet. It's that simple. This is not about men being lonely or vulnerable. One of the top 5 places to be they made at is work. It's inescapable when you're spending 40 to 50 to 60 hours with people. Guess what happens? You start to learn about each other. You start to become compatible. You start to hang out more. You start to learn what others like, what they don't like. Eventually, when a seed is planted, it grows. It yields fruit. Some of that fruit's edible. How do you castigate a person when they want to eat something that's edible? No pun intended. It happens. And I will say to any woman who believes she's being targeted, harassed, take the proper steps and bring it to your HR. And if that gentleman, after, like David said, you give him a stern no, you're not interested in it, then handle your business. But don't make this out to be as if this is a one, I'm sorry, not one off. Don't make this out to be as if this is just a male issue, because I can assure you that men don't report harassment, as David alluded to. We don't give a fuck. We just keep it moving, saying, "Look, that chick's got a problem. I'm not gonna break her off nothing, and she's gonna try and do whatever she can to do it." Like I told people, go read the Fox Sports One lawsuit and see how this all is playing out real time. This is why we came back to this topic, because people keep believing that men are just the ones who are out here doing this. And if you listen to what Shaughnessy just said, you would know that's not the case.
No, and it's not the case. And I understand what you're saying, Juliet, but it really, I don't think no man goes to work to get dressed every day and say, "Oh man, I'm about to do this or do that." Usually, it's signs, it's cues that, because most men, to be honest, may not even have the mouthpiece of conversation to address women, especially in our generation. Growing up, like, even, we were ones that, when technology and all that stuff start coming into place, so the art of conversation is kind of dead. So many guys don't even have that confidence to do that. And nobody, I mean, in some cases, you have people using brutal force to harass women, whatever. But if you think about the common guy that's just at work, but he might be interested in someone, they're not really
Yeah,
doing all that.
yeah,
Um, so I don't know what is happening, but you also could think that women sometimes say, "Hey, I'm gonna make, if he's quiet and I think it's something, I I gotta lean on him and provoke him to do something, to make other moves." So women play a part in it too. It's 50-50 probably. And yeah, I just don't want to hold up onto that. So that, and this is how we build topics for the next shows, because we,
mhm,
you go back and forth and you have these uh topics or follow up questions and answers. So it's all good. It's a learning experience.
yeah,
You're not right. We're not wrong. We're
right,
not right. You're not wrong.
right,
So how you look at it,
yeah,
and I definitely appreciate your feedback, because
absolutely,
that's something to think about. Like, hey, do men come to work like, man, I'm trying to come up or do whatever the case? To be honest, I don't know the percentage, but some guys, they want to be at certain workplaces because they know, uh, hey, it's more pickings that way. And then some places like, now I don't want to work there. And you might have certain companies and they're like,
yeah,
oh, you can transfer it over there. Oh, that's the place where it's all dudes. Oh, hell no.
right,
I want to be over here, and vice versa. So I understand what you're saying,
mhm,
but when you had guys that was stuff on their mind, that's not their first central thought. Like, who could they come up on, or what women? Because I think if it's meant to be, some things just happen organic, and it's just a transition between two people that you end up liking each other and you're attracted to each other. So
yeah,
that's how it is. It ain't over. We'll talk about it next week, or we'll always have some affiliation with these conversations. Yeah, you keep coming. You keep coming. I don't mind it. Let me see what you said. The HR can also create a lack of good, safe space. In fact, sadly, women who face such harassment, and especially black women, may really get bullied at work. And it's important to protect our employees against bullying and harassment. We kind of talked about that, in the transition that HR has stepped in, but also HR realized that certain people end up getting together and getting married from the workplace. I think it's for more there, when people keep forcing themselves on someone, and that's when you have to put policies in place. If you tell a
right,
person, like with bullying, if you tell a person stop and they stop, it's no longer bullying.
right,
But even harassment, if a man is hollering at a woman, but then you're coming back saying your stuff and y'all kind of flirting back and forth, it's not harassment. Y'all going back and forth. You didn't tell him no and left it at that. You even say if it was by email, you may have said something and they're reading it and they're like, oh, you going back and forth with them. And so then that's when you kind of can remove the harassment thing out of it. So I think in some cases it's kind of back and forth. So then you can remove the harassment or bullying and all that stuff when you're going back and forth. If you're attracted to each other, why bring it to work?
It's
I don't think. I don't.
yeah,
Go
it's
ahead,
not.
Herb.
It's. Let's look at it like this: two individuals who have no knowledge of each other work. One of those individuals suffers a catastrophic loss, a personal loss. The other person understands that because they've been there. Now they share a common bond. And through that bond, their relationship grows, strengthens to the point where they say, you know what? I like what our relationship has become. Why don't we see if we can advance this to something where both of us benefit? Where's the harm in that? And I understand the propensity that women have to look at things through their lens. I would never begrudge anyone, particularly women, to feel safe where they work at. The only problem is this: women will take a situation that is benign and turn it into something that is detrimental to her well being. And there's no proof. So now, as to a situation that was completely innocent, completely harmless, you got somebody that feels some kind of way because they're projecting. And the problem with that is this: the only person that knows about it is the individual who's projecting. You gotta, because you're making a lot of general statements and you're saying men. What industry is this relevant to? Because in the workplace, men really don't outnumber women like that to the point where men are running roughshod. HR departments are staffed mostly by women, so I find it almost impossible that a female will be in a situation to where she can't go to HR and that problem isn't dealt with. I trust me, I've been there personally, so I can speak to this. I've never seen it.
Employees should sometimes be suffering. This employee should sometimes be suffering silently.
That's what I want to know too, Jedi.
And I said, is she speaking from experience? If so, does she seek therapy for the negative experiences? Sounds like there is more to this exchange. By the way,
I'm not.
Julia, where's Romeo?
Yeah, and like David said, we're not saying that anyone is right or no one is wrong. But what we're saying is this: in certain situations, anyone can make your life difficult. See, we always talking about, and yes, I'm gonna go here. We always talk about men preying on women, but we rarely talk about women preying on men. And then we never talk about women preying on women.
Mm.
She has to speak up, or he has to speak up. No, a closed mouth don't get fed. No one can help an individual if they don't know that they need help, or if they're not communicating that they need help. And this is what I mean by the projecting. Women operate in a feeling state. So because they feel a way, they believe everybody else should understand the way they feel or feel the way that they feel. The world doesn't work like that, unfortunately for women. So if a woman is not voicing her displeasures and you want somebody to read them, you are never going to get the satisfaction that you seek, or a woman is never going to get the satisfaction that she seeks. She's never going to get the resolution she wants or needs. That's unfortunate, but that's life. This is why people say, speak up. You got to speak up. A woman has to speak up.
Yeah. So, like, there's like we could go back and forth all night long. There's no um correct answer, but the one thing we could offer to you, oh, Juliet, she's back. HR is, and especially when it comes to dealing with issues faced with Black communities, may sometimes not provide good protection to those employees. Just a view.
That's not something I can speak to.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's HR, the personnel is built on the community, whatever. I don't even know if like jobs get into the community aspect of what's going on. Once you get hired, you're there to do a job,
Yeah.
and probably like if something hindering you and you can't move forward and you didn't make the probation period, they're gonna get rid of you. It's just not. It's just not. The system is not built like that. So it just depends. Now, I'm not saying it's an absolute because some places might be different and they might hear you out and they might do further investigation and all that stuff. But again, I think the central theme is that men don't come to work looking for to try to get women. Usually it's some telltale sign, and for most men, that may drive them to make the next move.
Yeah.
If anything, if you're a man that's lacking confidence, which many men are, they ain't pressing nobody. They ain't really pressing nobody. They don't know how to. Uh, and it's sad to say. And I ain't saying I'm that one that going to come and confront or say anything. Usually, it's like playing checkers or chess. For me, I'm a counter person. Somebody gonna make the first move and they gonna say something and it's gonna be telltale. Then I'll make a move. I'm in my nature. I'm that's not aggressive like that. So I can't identify when you say men and all that situation because I know that, like I said, it's probably 50-50.
It's something, you know, it's something I'll look into. Absolutely. I have no problem looking into, you know, harassment claims by the numbers and gender. But, you know, this is something, you know, we looked at probably 2 years ago in terms of the number of workplace harassment suits. The overwhelming number of them are filed by women, which is 85, was like 85%. Now, how that breaks down um along ethnic lines, I have no idea. Well, I don't know if the numbers will be available for that, but I have no problem looking into it. Stuff like this kind of intrigues me.
So, Jedi said, is the counselor's couch available for late therapy for this lonely lady, David? Help a sister out, please. Julia said, institutionalized systematic racism and also sometimes impacts all of these issues. Yeah, you could throw that out there, but I think when we initially brought this conversation, we were just looking like basic day to day stuff, interactions that happen at work. Sometimes we take stuff too deep, and and you know. So Juliet, so you're telling me, have you ever been attracted to somebody at work? Have somebody ever made passes to you at work, but they wasn't harassing you? They just said that, and you might have said, hmm, "If I wasn't in this situation, he would be a candidate." Like, like we got to be real about that. So what's the difference of people flirting or hollering at somebody at on when they go to the same church? Because that surely happens often. If the man is perhaps experiencing problems at home, they may tend to look at work. So why not go home, solve the problem you experience? We could go down this thing all night long because sometimes women bring issues to work more than men. And then that's how sometimes coworkers hook up
Yep.
because they're saying this. And then you got somebody that's listening and they're just listening, but then that woman relies on them and kind of count count on them like, oh, you make me when you work and I feel, safe and secure and all this stuff. So well, we could talk about this all night long, which we're not.
It's called emotional
Yeah.
labor. Shout out to DGS and Coach Greg Adams. They talk about this stuff all the time. That one of the things that men do not receive any credit or acknowledgement for is being there as a shoulder for women to cry on when they need an emotional crutch.
And that about sums it up, but we're not done with you. Feel free to move these questions over to the counselor's corner. We're going to get out of here. Jedi said, you guys need to charge her for this emotional labor. Yeah,
No, as Shaughnessy said,
get
this
out.
is a safe space, man.
Go
We,
ahead.
we because dialogue like this outside of this platform, where else does this type of conversation take place? It doesn't, and then people will wonder why, when it comes to certain things, that women feel ignored. So
Yeah.
I'm not averse to having somebody, voice a thing that they're going through. Like she said, some people suffer in silence. Some people are afraid to speak up because they don't want to deal with the backlash, or maybe they lack the confidence and they don't have any faith in the system because they may have been wrong once. And some people are like that. We have to acknowledge that not everybody has the intestinal fortitude or the will to carry on despite a setback. It happens. It's part of life.
Yeah. And that's true. Like we don't it's a safe space. And again, one conversation leads to a next conversation. So by her putting out Juliet putting this information out, that's something to look at. As far as the transition period when things are happening and men may go this way and women may do that. I guess at the end we don't no one has all the correct answers, and that's why you have conversations. The more conversations you have, the more options you have. What he said.
No, we knew you were kidding. But there's some people that may not understand that you are, so we want to make sure that they're aware. Because we don't know who's gonna watch this in perpetuity. So somebody might read the comments, oh, he's just misogynistic. No, he's joking, people. He's joking.
Well, Juliet, and I know you from a different time zone, you can always come on the panel. Um, and we could talk further about this because I understand we're not trying to dismiss your concerns because certainly there are a percentage of men that's what they do.
And you know what? And until you said that, I saw the UK and I hadn't really thought about it. So I will say this: I do not know what the work environment is like where you are. It could be completely different. So from a perspective of two black males in the United States of America, we can only comment on what we know of here. Now, with that being said, if there are different sets of circumstances in the UK where this harassment is handled differently, then that becomes something that we really can't speak about at length the way we can here, because it's simply put, It's out of our jurisdiction. I certainly don't have the information nor the experience to even begin to remotely speak about. I can try and understand it, but the understanding is only going to come from my perspective.
That's
Everything we talk about on here is real. There's nothing fabricated.
yeah.
Everything is real.
And that's the point I was going to address when you say real. Like this isn't like this. We have a topic, we bring it up, we talk about it, we share personal experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and it's as real as it's gonna get.
Yeah,
It's no scripted stuff or anything. So it's just throwing the bait out there in the fire, and you see. And then sometimes people get cooked, and sometimes people survive and you live. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we're not trying to devalue what you're saying because I understand there's some validity to what you're saying, but in a lot of cases, that may not be man's mo. Whereas sometimes women like to plot to see who they could get. I don't know if men are. I think women are better plotters than men. I'll say that as an absolute. I've seen it happen. Such jobs can be awful. We've seen it too, and we've seen it reversed, and we already know. So I don't know. I mean, your experiences are your experiences, so I'm not gonna minimize it. But I just think that it's much more to it than what you're saying, and even much more how we addressed it. So much. But you know what? This give us a foundation to build on because we about to get out of here. What's your last? Oh, okay, that was nothing. So we out of here. Anything last minute, Herb, that you got to say?
no, it is time for me to go break this fast. I'm gonna pop some meatballs in the oven and make me a couple of club sandwiches and call it a night.
Why you ain't already had that on while the show's going on?
I took a nap, man. I was tired.
Oh, Julie said I have even heard stories where black men explain some white women approaches them, and when they said no, they started getting harassed.
That's what we call an inverse power dynamic, and that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of different things. And to be honest, I think we talk about a lot of stuff on here. So, we definitely appreciate your feedback. Not trying to dismiss you, but gotta go. Herb got some meatballs that need to be put in the oven. He got a. You having any pineapple Ciroc tonight?
You know what? I just might. I
All
just
right.
might.
Yeah, I can't knock you. Like, gotta live your life and do what you gotta do. So again, people, these conversations is ongoing. There's no solutions, but there's solutions, but solutions come with all of us working together, and we just got to keep talking and keep talking. And what else is it? Okay, happy evening. I'm back to bed. Sleep well. We appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you coming with a different perspective, and it keeps us on our toes to say, hey, we need to look further and talk about talk about some of the concerns you had, but we here for it. Never gonna shy away from it. So be safe, be well, sleep good, and we'll talk again. And definitely appreciate your feedback. All right, we out. On to the next one. Thanks everybody for coming in. Uh, and remember, y'all can. I normally don't promote this. Y'all could buy what is it? Roses or whatever. You know, page is getting monetization now on Facebook. So stars. You could buy stars. Click on that. 99 stars is $1 or whatever the case is. Hey, let's start building the platform. because hey, you can have a damn doctor or a psychologist charging you $150 an hour. I'm not saying we're doing that,
Yeah,
Ro.
honestly. And I know people who are doing that.
We're having we're
Absolutely.
having productive conversations, and sometimes that's what people need. Go ahead. Hurt.
No, that's it. That's all. Can you hear me?
No, I didn't hear you said you're saying people that did it stop.
Oh no, no. I know people who are charging that kind of money for therapy.
Yeah.
And segue real quick. What a lot of people don't understand about therapy is this, especially from a female perspective, because women are more apt to sit there and discuss how they feel, and there's nothing wrong with that. They don't pursue the fix. Conversely, and this is something I'll post a link when I find it. Conversely, men don't function well doing that. As I heard said on a podcast, women are human beings, men are human doings. So for a female to sit there and discuss how she feels, for her, that's therapeutic. It helps her process her feelings, her emotions, and it helps her to get going. Conversely, for a man, that's not going to solve him putting food on the table. That's not going to solve him paying the mortgage or the rent. That's not going to solve him having money so he can advance whatever it is that he wants to do. And this is the difference between the two dynamic or the two the two genders and the dynamics under which they function when it comes to certain things. So when people start to understand that what separates us is sometimes greater than what brings us together, then and only then can we actually start to build the bridge to understanding between the two genders to where when that bridge needs to be crossed, it can be crossed with impunity. It can be crossed at will, and it can be crossed knowing that I'm going to the other side. I have to bring a different set of tools to accomplish a job.
Mm-mm-mm. Boy, the heat ups is good. But anyways, all the information is good. We'll gather it. And we'll come together. Just stay locked in, Juliet, because the conversation is far from over. But we're gonna get out of here for the sake of people time and us having our own personal things to do. We out. On to the next one. Everybody who joined in, appreciate you all. Um, Lock in the counselor's corner, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the controversial counselor, and we'll see y'all next time. We out.
All right,
Peace.
people, take care.